Hello ladies and gentlemen, this is Blue Maxima, and I'm going to talk to you for a little bit today about the A500 Mini, which is a mini console based around the Commodore Amiga series of computers. And admittedly, I've been looking forward to this one for a lot of different reasons, but, well, I've got it. I've been playing it for a fair bit longer than I probably should have, so let's go and give you the rundown. Now, I'm not actually going to be going over everything to do with the A500 Mini before I hop into the games themselves, because 100 other channels have already done that. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to drop into a game, play it, and if I feel the need to talk about something halfway between each game, that's how it's going to go. And if I screw up, if I make a major mistake, we're just going to have to roll with it, because this video is going to be massively long as it is. But I will also be doing something else. If we swap back to my desktop for a minute, you can see here that I've got a tier maker of all the games that are on the A500 Mini, and I will be ranking them as I go based on how I've gone about this. And just so you all know, while this does give you the ability to plug in your own controllers and some such and other that, I have been playing everything on this mainly with what comes with it, that being the mouse and the gamepad. So just so you know, this is how you'll play the thing if you get it like straight out of the box. No other peripherals necessary. Except the flash drive, but we'll get to that. So, with that said, let's just pop into Alien Breed 3D. Except we're not going to actually pop in through the main game here, because we're going to be using save states whenever I've got access to them. Because I've put up a fair few save states on certain games, just to make it so that we can be a bit further into the games in question, although sometimes there won't be. You'll understand why when we get to each game. With that said, let's go to level 4 of Alien Breed 3D. Now, this game's got an incredibly weird control scheme because it's on a gamepad that doesn't have any kind of mouse or analog sticks or what have you. But honestly, it kind of works because they give you a custom control scheme for everything in this game. So there's like, for every single game, there'll be a different control scheme available for it on the gamepads themselves. And honestly, it works. Like, even in this game where you're wandering around with tank controls and you're holding the R button to strafe, it actually works okay. Like, it genuinely works fine for the purpose of playing Alien Breed 3D. L button swaps your weapons, Y button activates, the A button is crouched for some reason, I believe. No, that's B, actually. The A button, I don't know what the A button does. But thankfully, they are actually really nice about this. If you hit the home button, and you can do this while you're in the middle of a game as well, and press the up, you can actually, the up button on the D-pad, I should say, you can see here what all of the different buttons do. And it's actually a very nice little touch that they got going on there, and I do appreciate it. With that said, let's continue on. And despite the fact that it looks like absolute god-tier garbage, like, I will admit, it looks like absolute arse. It actually plays alright. I genuinely don't mind the way that this game plays. I wish it was faster. Like, they could probably do to overclock the Amiga emulation so that it would actually be running quicker. I do know what hit me there, and I'm gonna go fuck him up. Not even gonna worry about monetization on this video. Screw you, YouTube. Wasn't that guy fucking me up, but there we go. It's that one. Dead. See, even though it looks like you can't see more than 5 pixels in front of you and it runs like absolute dog shit, it genuinely plays okay. The weapons are satisfying to use, even though some of them you'll have to be like constantly hitting the fire button to actually get proper fire rates out of. But when you take out an enemy and they explode into a pile of gore, it's actually kind of neat. And it makes it feel satisfying to be using these weapons. And it's got decent vertical auto-aiming, although not the best. Like, you could do better. This isn't to say that I think this game is fantastic or anything. I would clearly take something like, what's it called over this? Doom. But it does a lot of things that make up for the fact that it's running on an inherently worse platform. Like, you've got an absolute ton of health, even at the best of times, even in comparison to something like Doom, right? So you don't have to worry about, you don't have to worry too much about getting hit because you're couldn't see what was coming or whatnot, because the game itself is actually pretty generous about giving you health. The game itself is pretty generous about giving you health, and you take very little damage to begin with, so it isn't too bad, not in the grand scheme of things. And they also like litter the landscape with pickups and power-ups and whatnot. So it's not bad. Not bad at all. I mean, it's not amazing, but like, having played it, having heard of Alien Breed 3D and thinking, oh god, this is probably going to be a piece of dog shit, it actually is okay. Like, genuinely okay. You get a few different weapons, and they all work quite differently. Where were those doors again? I think they're down here. I have played this level before, but it was a few days ago, so... Let's run over here, turn around. There is something inherently satisfying about just watching these all disappear into a pile of blood and guts. They learned one thing from Doom, and that was that everything needs to be a nice big pile of gore at the end. And I mean, I've heard of worse lessons that you could learn from Doom, eh? Grenade launcher, rocket launcher. This is just your bog standard assault rifle and shotgun, but they do the job. They do what they need to do. For some reason, it will not let me up the stairs. There we go, I was crouching. Hard to tell. So you can see the performance just take a massive uptick there because it doesn't have to render as many polygons, so it's not having anywhere near as much trouble. Oh, big red guy with more damage dealing abilities. That's never good. No, it's the Y button that lets you activate that. There we go. Ooh, very good. Good amount of resources. But yeah, honestly, this isn't bad. If there was like some kind of mod that would let you like up the internal resolution and overclock the Amiga so that this actually ran properly, this would be okay. Doesn't push Doom in any way, shape, or form out of the realm of best retro FPS. But considering the hardware they had to work with, I don't think you're actually... Well, you probably can find some way to move those things down, but I'd be lying if I said I knew how to do that. So let's just come back out here. That's a blue key, so we need to go through the other yellow door, which is over here. Also doesn't help that the FOV is actually really low. So admittedly, it can be kind of a pain in the... Oh dear. It can be kind of a pain in the neck, but oh well. We're going to leave it at that. This video is going to be long enough having to go through 25 games. With that said, one thing I like about the Amiga 500 Mini is that they've got these little help sections here that tell you the exact controls you need to worry about. So all you need to do in order to see the controls of the game you're playing, hit home, press up. Of course, you actually can do that before you play the game, but of course, when you're actually in the game, it's another story, right? With that said, let's go back to the desktop and rank Alien Breed 3D. It's in the meh tier, but it's pushing up against good tier. If they overclocked the emulator, so that it was actually faster, it would probably be in the good tier. But for now, we're just going to leave it like that. With that said, let's move on to the special edition of Alien Breed. The original. And some might say the best. So we're loading up a save state that's on deck 3 out of 12 here. Now, I have actually played this game before. Like, no word of a lie, I've actually played it before. It was years ago, though, and admittedly, I did not like the game at all. However, 10 years and a little bit more wisdom has kind of, you know, given me a bit more to work with when it comes to this game, right? Because originally when I played it, it felt a bit like, what's the word I'm looking for? It felt like it wasn't a fast enough game, an enjoyable enough game, right? However, having played it, I realized that that wasn't its original shite. Having played it, I realized that wasn't its original intent. The original intent of it was to create a more survival-oriented game, right? Something more akin to your Alien Isolations more than anything else. So, having given it another go here, I've actually come to really like it. Because it does a lot of really unique things. All of these aliens are absolutely disastrously dumb on their own, right? But when you get them into a group of 5 or 6 and have them swarm a room, they become an absolutely massive problem. Because you're not going to be able to hold them back. You're going to have a really tough time trying to fight them off. And it is going to suck. Especially in these huge maze-like levels with tons of places to go. The aliens will also constantly respawn, which is a problem. And it might force you back down ways you otherwise might not have come. And you need to constantly be on the lookout for more resources and supplies and making clever decisions on when to use your very limited ID cards in order to get through doors. You can also shoot your way through them. Which, to be fair, does work. If you're high on ammo, low on keys, and you need to get through a door, that's certainly one way to go about things. And there is a lot to explore in these games. These levels are absolutely freaking massive. They have tons of corridors and side corridors and little different areas that you can wander into. They'll give you more stuff. And admittedly, the game gets easier the more that you play it, because when you learn the levels, when you learn where you need to go and what you need to do, because the objectives are actually different on each level. All credit to them for actually making that work. Right? But yeah, there's a lot of different, there's a lot of different things. Oh god. Did I just get crushed in the door? I just got crushed in the door. Alright, we'll try again from, stage 3. But yeah, there's a lot of resources lying around. They're all quite limited, and you have to try and find your way around somehow. Although, admittedly, it can be a little bit extreme. It can kind of get to the point where you can get absolutely stuck, and you'll just need to restart the entire game. There's just no ifs, ands, or buts about it. And the general idea is that you're going to want to go and try and find a map to an area as soon as humanly possible. Because the map will give you a pretty good idea of where you can go and how you can go about accomplishing your goals with the resources that you have available to you. Otherwise, you stand the chance of getting stuck and dying. But at the same time, when you manage to go through an entire level, have an absolute ton of resources to spare, and you're able to spend all your money at the computer in order to get yourself some really powerful weaponry, it does create that satisfying feeling of having beaten the odds. It also doesn't help that I'm kind of going through this level backwards, but it's probably the way that you're intended to do it. Also, computer, press the Y button apparently.
Welcome to Intex Systems.
Bah. Intex Superspace Frog installed early next millennia. How unfortunate. But you can look at the map here, and it shows you all the different places that It shows you the entire map and all the different locked doors. So you can just think to yourself, okay, if I want to be able to get through the entirety of the map, I need to open this door, this door, this door, this door, this door, this door, and this door. In this case, it's the ones in the top right we need to be top left we need to be worrying about. We have 7 keys that we need to collect in order to get through those doors. But you also have the ability to come here and buy stuff. So you can buy the remote location scanner, which is basically a portable map. We can buy a key pack, which we definitely want. And I might as well buy an additional life, because it'll keep me alive longer. But we can also go and buy weaponry. And this weaponry, as far as I'm aware, outside of your traditional weapon limit, doesn't actually have its own unique ammo. And these all do, like, tons of extra damage on top of your base ammo. But I haven't actually managed to get to the point where I can afford to buy them yet. That's fun. I've already been down here. But still, it really does create that feeling of trying to survive in an overwhelmingly hostile environment with low amounts of resources and even a lower chance of success. And I do like it for that. I actually like it a lot. It does a better job than I was expecting. I actually do need to come through here because the way I found to actually do this level the last time I played it was to do it in a sort of crap. Thankfully, I bought that extra life. Was to do it in a sort of like, you go through it anti-clockwise, and then you come back through it clockwise, shooting all the doors closed as you go. Don't remember if I said it in this take or not. But this level actually does have, well, this game does actually have multiple objectives.
Player 1 required 30 days.
So it does keep the variety of the levels up. These aliens absolutely suck your health bar dry, though. It's not great. If I remember correctly, I need to go... No, it's the next one. If I remember correctly, if I come up to the right here... Yeah, if I come through this door, there's actually a lot of supplies on the other side of this door. Unfortunately, very hard to shoot around corners. Yep, there they are. All the keys I'll ever need. And all these aliens are absolutely building up. Yep, I'll just blow my way through all these doors because it's actually relatively important that I do. Although I am starting to run low on ammo. That's kind of a problem. Now we blow this door shut. And we move around back clockwise to try and finish the level. Although this ammo situation does not look good at all. Damn it all. Admittedly, the level design can be a little bit of a dick at times. Like, look at that. Look at that. It's just a locked door that leads to an area that you can already access. What the hell is the deal with that? I can't help but ask that question in particular. Alright. Shoot this door shut. Come on. There we go. Gotta keep moving. Gotta try and avoid getting shot.
Player 1.
Not even shot, just hit by the damn aliens. Obviously, this is clearly meant to be a take on the famous Alien movie franchise, of course, but those aliens were intelligent. These ones definitely don't share the same properties. Yeah, we've blown out all the fire doors. So it started the self-destruct timer. Thankfully, the deck is right here. And that's it. We're at level 4 now. Of 12. At least it gives you the codes to restart. But of course, you can also use save states. I hate the way they implement save states in this, but let's talk about something else for a little bit. You have the opportunity to not only favorite games by an amount of 4 stars, but you can also sort them by favorite. Except I'm not entirely sure how this is meant to work. Especially since I believe I actually did favorite something before, and it appears to have just completely lost the fact that I've done so. So I'm curious. Now we do by favorite, yeah. And I'm assuming if we favorite this by 4, yeah, it just does that. That's fine. We'll go back to sorting by title. So yeah, that was favoriting and sorting. Not particularly useful, and we'll get into reasons why later on. But for now, let's play another world. I have save states here. Let's go with this one, I suppose. So, another world. It's a cinematic platformer akin to Flashback. And, well, actually, to be fair, Flashback is really the only one in question that is really worth talking about in this sense. There's a couple of others, of course, but this one does a really good job at it. And it's punctuated by very nice animation, some interesting puzzles, and just this really nice atmosphere. And I know all of this, not because I've played this version, but because I've actually played this game to completion on another platform. I've played this on the Vita, when they released the 20th Anniversary Edition. Oh dear, my gun no work. My guy here is like, yay, you go, I stay. I think you can stay and actually watch this, though. Oh, he just disappeared for some reason. Okay. I don't recall that happening in the version that I played. But oh well. Whoop, dead. Now, let me introduce to you how save states work on the Amiga 500 Mini, and I feel like that this is just kind of stupid. So, if you press the home button, you'll be returned to this screen. And now you'll think, oh, I just pressed the A button to go back into the game because that's how I got into it in the first place. You'd be wrong. If you actually do that, it will restart the game, because what it actually wants you to do is press the home button to get back in. Now, I find this to be a little bit obnoxious, personally, because the amount of times I pressed the A button and ended up restarting the game, I found myself thinking, oh, that's really painful, right? But if you want to load a save state, like let's say we want to make a save state, making the save state is easy enough. We just move over here, hit the A button, it makes a save state. It's that simple to start with, right? But let's say that I'm doing a really, really annoying section. Like this one, for example, where you have to press like the up and the jump button at the same time in quick succession, otherwise something like that happens. To reload the save state, you have to press the home button, come down, and now you might notice that the save state is currently still in the waiting to be saved position. So you might end up overriding your own save state without noticing. So you have to save the state you've got somewhere else, then come back and load your original state. It feels entirely arbitrary, if I'm being honest with you. And it also makes this game, in particular, really fucking hard. Because it is just genuinely incredibly difficult to do some of these sections on the included gamepad. Because it just does not seem to respond fast enough. Like, if I can actually get through to the thing that I need to blast open here. Like, watch. Now I have to run away. There's no dedicated jump button. You just kind of have to hit up in the A button and hope for the best. But if you're not fast enough, that'll happen. And I was going about as fast as I reasonably could have. I've finished this game on other platforms, but I just haven't been able to do it here, despite repeated attempts at it. Which just genuinely annoys the hell out of me. Because of this controller and of the way save states work, just annoying me to no end. And I really do hope that a firmware update comes along to fix this save state thing, because I just find it to be incredibly frustrating. I really like the game, I just can't stand the certain parts of it. Thankfully, if you get really sick of a certain part of it, you can just look up the codes to jump past certain sections of the game and put them in, but, you know, it doesn't change the fact that the game is really, really damn difficult, more than it needs to be. With that said, I won't bother telling you about something in particular on the A500 because we just talked about the way save states work. Also, you can lock and unlock states to prevent that situation I talked about earlier, accidentally overriding your states. But, yeah, still really annoying. Kind of makes the game hard to play. With that said, let's rank those games, including the one I just missed. Alien Breed gets to go in the good tier, because I found myself enjoying it way more than I did the last time I played it. And Another World gets to be in the good tier only because I've played it somewhere else and actually really like it. Here, it's a kind of a pain in the ass, so we'll just leave that one alone for the time being, shall we say, eh? With that said, let's hop on back to the console itself, and we'll try Arcade Pool. Which I don't have any save states for because, well, it's a pool game, you don't really need them. Oh, also worth note, just before we get into that, as you can see here, there's no dedicated jump button, except for up on the thing here, but that was because that was what most arcade games did. Not arcade games, Amiga games did when you needed to jump. You had to press up on the joystick. Yes, it was insufferable then, it's insufferable now, but most of the games in this actually rebind it, so that's not a problem, except for Another World. I'm not entirely sure why. Anyway, Arcade Pool. It has an absolute ton of options to play pool. It's like 8 different modes here. That's cool. You can set up the players, including who will be what. You can change their names and all that. The amount of players that you can play with. But I'll just stick with 2. How many players are in a tournament? That's nice. You can also do general options. Plenty there. Note that we're starting on rookie. Keep that in mind. And custom 8-ball options, where you can change a lot of different options about it. And we'll just play a single match against Steve Haley. Helicopter. So I'm breaking off. So you can actually also use the mouse for this one, but for the purpose of simplicity, we're going to be using the controller. You can drag the ball around in order to position it. You press the button to get going here. You can hold and drag it here in order to get your angle just right. Then when you're ready, I believe it's B. And there we go. Now watch Steve come along and sink every bloody shot he makes for the next 10 minutes. Almost, but I gotta tell you, man, he usually gets like 3 or 4 balls in a row. He's genuinely infuriating. And this is on the rookie difficulty. I can't imagine how much harder it bloody is on the... we're gonna use the mouse for a little bit more precision on this one. But this is on the rookie difficulty. I can't imagine how much harder it is on the bloody, non-rookie difficulties. Really. You can also change the amount of power in the ball and change where the ball makes where the cue makes contact with the ball. If I don't accidentally reset the aiming angle. And then you right click in order to actually send it off. And as you can see, I'm garbage. Now watch Steve. Yep, immediately gets that one in. And immediately gets another one in based off her absolutely horrendous. Like, seriously, the AI is psychic. It knows how to get these absolutely ridiculous reflex shots in, and it drives me mad. I played half an hour of this, trying to figure out how the AI was so inhumanly good, but it's too good. It's genuinely just way better than it has any right to be, and it drives me insane. Like, watch. He'll be able to figure out a way to get this in. Oh, right, I get a free shot because he fouled the ball into the pocket. I'm not massively familiar with all the different kinds of rules. Nope, still couldn't get it in. He'll be able to get that in. Yeah, no problem. And he'll probably be able to get the black in through some crazy reflect. No, he wasn't able to. But I swear this AI is just stupidly good at, like, in no uncertain terms, it's, like, better than most pool game AI that I've ever played against. And it's the bloody rookie mode. Like, seriously, how is a rookie AI this bloody good? Yeah, he'll be able to get that in. I don't get the cool reflex. Yep, I get 2 free shots, but that's fine, I guess. I shouldn't be surprised. I'm not even really trying, but that's just how it works, huh? Well, he got the black ball in, so I think that counts as a win for him, yep. And they give you ratings? Just to make you feel even worse about yourself? And then you can do replays and all of that. But yeah, the AI is just so bloody hard that I just haven't been able to make any headway on this one. So it's got a lot of options and features, and you can play it with like a ton of people. So I'm willing to give this a meh. It's not a bad game, not by any means. It's just the AI will absolutely slaughter you if you don't know what you're doing. What's something I can talk about when it comes to the A500? Let's do the options, or at least some of them. So I've mainly been going with screen fit here because it's actually really hard to see the stuff otherwise, but just for the fun of it, let's play battle chess at fixed size, and we'll enable the CRT effect and the smoothing, which is basically just HQ2X for this next game, which will be... I didn't realize we were playing all-terrain racing. I thought we were playing battle chess next, but that's fine. We're going to play all-terrain racing. To be fair, it doesn't actually look that bad with all of them turned on simultaneously, but this is probably going to look awful on YouTube. So yeah, plenty of options and stuff going on here, nothing too out of the ordinary, so we'll just, difficulty is easy, we'll just do arcade mode. So yeah, there's different tracks you can play on that recommend different cars. I guess we'll do sports. The different cars actually do have a proper set of, what's the word I'm looking for? The tires actually do have the cars have a different set of stats. You can upgrade all of your stuff. And then you've got the racing proper, which takes place in this sort of 3/4 bird's eye view here. And you need to be really good. You need to... There's no brake button in this game as far as I'm aware, so it's just laying it off the accelerator at the right times and trying to curve around. Admittedly, the driving in this is actually pretty satisfying. They've got the physics down okay. But the problem is... It doesn't seem to matter what one of these cars you use. The AI just loves to absolutely kick your ass here too. It plays okay. You do also get like those pickups that show up time and again. They give you different things like money to upgrade your stuff, and they always seem to be coming up just as I'm going past them. And there's the turbo boost that sends me into a wall and puts me even further back. There's the Team 17 building. Project X, Alien Breed. I wonder if we're going to... And Quack. All of which are actually included on this thing. Spoilers for games that are coming up. If you haven't been paying attention to the life of the A500 Mini like I've been. Not Super Frog, though. They didn't include Super Frog. Yep, and I just skid out right into the wall. Yeah, I think we can agree that I've fallen way too far behind here. So we're going to try that again, and we're going to see if, like, the buggy is any easier on the tracks that are meant for the buggy. We'll just go for the buggy. We'll do speed, grip, and I have no funds left, so let's just hit race. So yeah, it's okay. I'm actually kind of reminded of MotorStorm RC, in a way. In the way that these cars, like, handle and the way that they're represented on the course and whatnot. It feels more like MotorStorm RC than it does a proper racing game. But that said, though, again, it's just, the AI is really hard, even on the easiest difficulty, so it makes it a little bit rough to get used to. And I'll be honest with you, there are way better racing games in the Amiga library. Like, way better. Look how far ahead those two are. Like, the chances that I'm going to be catching up with them are slim to nil at best. Especially if I keep getting knocked out of the way by this little trollop. I've already kind of given up on the idea of this being monetized, and yet here I am saying the word trollop instead of something more impactful like fuckface. I don't know. And of course you are able to play with your friends, although the way that you play with your friends in this game is weird because it doesn't have proper split screen. Instead of proper split screen, it has like a sort of dueling mode where if you get too far behind an enemy, you will end up, if you get too far behind the other player, I should say, you'll be forcefully caught up to them, but the other player will win a point and the first player to a certain amount of points wins. Perfectly okay, I guess, but doesn't feel like a proper race, you know? I'm honestly not too sure what I've been doing wrong here. I've been doing okay, but feels like I've just been slowly losing ground. I know I've run into, like, a couple of... Actually, I've run into a fair few walls, honestly, but... I don't know, maybe this is just one of those games where they expect you to be perfect from the offset. Know the right equipment, know the right stuff that you need to buy. And try not to bloody die. Or crash into walls constantly like I've been doing. Actual proper use of lifting off the accelerator. Is there a brake button in this game? Maybe there is. Then go on, just bump me up to maximum speed, will ya? I think they've lapped us. I genuinely think they've lapped us. Whatever. Yeah. It's not bad. I just find it to be a bit rough to play because of the really hard AI and all that. So, admittedly, I'm not massively impressed. So, let's go back to the desktop. It's not a bad game. I'm going to put it in the meh tier. There are games coming along that are better at this, though. With that said, let's go turn off all of those awful options because, man, they will not make Battle Chess look good. So system options, here you go. You've got your music volume, which I've turned a fair bit down. The mouse sensitivity, which is actually fine by default. I haven't had a problem with it. And I don't know why this isn't on by default. So let's actually swap to the webcam side of things for a moment, shall we? Because let's just hope my phone hasn't fallen asleep. You get to see behind the curtain, guys. There it is. Look at it. That is the A500 Mini. And that little power light there, there's actually a secondary light below it that flickers on and off as it accesses the Amiga's floppy drive. And it's actually just some really cool stuff. We'll get on to the actual model and stuff later on in the video because I'm going to run out of things to talk about eventually. So let's head back to the console and head on to Battle Chess, which again doesn't really need a... Doesn't really need any save states or anything because it's bloody chess. Like, what do you expect? This is one of those games that actually works way better with the mouse, so we're going to use the mouse. Here's the thing, though. This game beats me on novice difficulty. So, yeah. We can actually change it so that the Amiga itself will play both sides. Or can we? Yes, we can. So, Battle Chess is actually kind of legendary because of one thing and one thing alone. And that's it. That is its interesting animations. And we'll just let it go for a few minutes to explain why, because I'm not going to bother to explain chess to you. If you don't know what chess is at this point, it's kind of strange, and I feel strangely sorry for you, but it genuinely just plays like a game of chess. Like, you've got some options here. Like, you can turn it to a 2D board, but that makes things less interesting because you can't see anything. That you can do take-backs and replays and even have it suggest a move for you. And you can save games and stuff too, but you don't want to do that. And we'll get on to why later on. We'll just wait to see a couple of the animations before we move on to the next game, because this genuinely is just chess. Like, if you just ignore the animations entirely, it's genuinely just chess. Why would you... Oh, no, you're actually moving a fair bit further. Oh, you're putting the king in check? Okay. No, we're not going to see a fancy little take animation just yet. Oh, here we go. Here comes a fight. They're all just cute little animations like that. And admittedly, it does add a fair amount of flavor to the game. But at the same time, it's still chess. And off comes the head. And to be fair, there are a lot of these different types of interactions. Oh, is the king castling, is he? Yep, and the rook is just some gigantic rock monster. Like, at least with the knights, they took away the horses, but... Yeah, the rook is just a gigantic rock monster. Sure, why not? Although I don't know why that... Oh, no, yeah, that pawn is being protected by the rook. Fair enough. Yeah, and they're castling too. You get the idea. I'm not going to sit here and make you watch any more of this, because it's just bloody chess. It's genuinely just bloody chess. With that said... I will give it a meh. Because it's chess. There's nothing wrong with it, but it's just chess. And it feels a bit weird to include a chess game on a mini console. At least one that isn't like the Atari 2600 that has like 60 other games with it. But, well, that's just me. Cadaver. I do not like this game. So... It literally just plops you in with nothing, right? And there's a lot of genuine reasons to not like this, and we'll get to why that is shortly, as we'll see what's going on at the... Whoop, I just pushed that in the water, and I'm dying. I'm just drowning, and I'm dead. So we just gotta restart the game. It does not warn you about this. You do also have different rooms you can go into. Except this one, because the door's locked. But if you pull this lever here, this will unlock, and this will let you go through. And you can pick up more stuff, and the fungi will multiply. And you've got different things that you need to try and fight off or avoid, like this. You've got health that can be restored via eating, by drinking from barrels. You can find different items. And you use these items in order to... You can use these items in order to do things like attack. So if you hit... That's the map, I apologize. If you hit... What button was it? It was the L button. There we go. You can hit the L button. This bag has throwing stones in it. And we will... do that. And if I press the A button, now I have throwing stones. which I can use to damage enemies. If I come back along here, we find this thing. We have killed it. We drink from this barrel, which gives us some stuff, and if I manage to... Nope. Push this up here a little bit more, and I jump here, and I jump here, and I can collect... At least I should be able to collect the item. It will not let me collect the item. That is annoying as hell. These games can be a bit jank. You're supposed to be able to... There we go. There. Nope. There. Now I've collected the charm. I get a jingle, and I get rewarded for it. I also grab that, jump over the top of this spider, and leave. So it's just a simple exploration game like this. You're just wandering around, looking for items, looking for keys and where to get through. Where this game pisses me off to no end is the fact that doors like this can just be unlocked. See, I'm not entirely sure what I did to unlock this door. And one of the major reasons that I got stuck in this game was because I did not know I had unlocked this door somehow. And I've heard that this is very common in this game. So I've done that lever, but now I've got a bunch of other doors I need to go check. And they're all over the place. They could be in any one of these rooms with these doors in them. Like it could be this southern door down here. Turns out it was. But it could be any other door in any other room. And I find this to be... I mean, honestly, I've never been very good at these things to begin with. I will admit that. But at the same time, I thoroughly understand that and try to avoid these sorts of games. So by default, I just kind of can't stand this. I just genuinely have trouble withstanding anything to do with these sorts of games. There we go. Just having to wander around, look through all of these different rooms, looking for different items, and hoping that one of these doors will mysteriously unlock. It's not my style. Not to mention looking for things like puzzle solutions and what have you, but... Also, yeah, this thing will actually kill me if I let it get too close, so I should probably back off. Try and equip a stone sack. This one has 150 stones in it for some reason. Why, I have no idea. Helped me get rid of him real quick, though. Yeah, then I head down here and this door is blocked. There's a keyhole here, but I don't actually have, like, the key for it. And I spent, like, 10 minutes looking around for this bloody key, and I just could not find it. So, yeah, it's one of those wander around, look for items that'll let you solve puzzles that are hard to discern what they actually do sort of games. Some people might like it, but for me personally, it just ends up on the bad tier. Because I never liked these. I never liked these sorts of games. Sort of games I do like, though, California games. But before we get to that, let's tell you about something else in the options here. We already did them. You have 6 languages, and you have some advanced options, including being able to change your TV between 50 and 60 Hz output, which actually makes sense, because this was a majority 50 Hz machine, so that makes perfect sense. I've got no problem with that whatsoever. There's the firmware build of this unit. It was apparently four months ago. I only got this like 2 weeks ago. They must have been having them sit around for a while. And I've just got expert mode turned on. There's no reason not to have that off. And yeah, this is also how you shut down the device. You just come here and you go shut down. It's that simple. Except I completely forgot to actually put it back on console mode. Whoops! So, a game that I actually like to play, California games. And then we'll actually go and have a look at the options I just talked about in the part that I'm probably going to cut out. So you've got 6 different languages. You've also got the ability to turn on 60 Hz or 50 Hz output, which makes sense because this is a 50 Hz machine by default. A firmware build, which is 4 months old, which is a bit weird considering this is only like a week out of the box. Some legal notices. So many games from Team 17. Like, genuinely, that's a lot of games from Team 17. And this is where you go to factory reset and turn on expert mode. And then you have the option to shut down the thing from here. The only way you can actually power it on is by pressing the power button on the back. With that said, let's play California games. This was on literally everything. Like, I can't imagine a console that this game was not on. Which is kind of impressive in its own right, really. The whole idea is that also, this is where I actually show you the on-screen keyboard. You activate it by pressing the menu button while you're in a game, and it's very useful for those games where you only need to press like a couple of keys in order to actually play them. We're Aussie Wax, and if you press enter here, it'll just be us. And then we get to play through multiple events, and these events are all different sports that are, oh, games I should say, that take place in California. I do not remember how to play this mode, so please forgive me. I only get 3 shots of this. And then it's over. I still came first. See, the controls on that one revolve around you pressing down while you're going down, up while you're going up, down while you're going down, and then turning all the way. And it's actually kind of hard to do on a, whatchamacallit? On this simple joypad. The entire idea of footbag is to keep the footbag in the air for as long as possible, and you'll earn points for doing combos, but you gotta time it right. And considering the differing timings of everything, it can be very difficult to time it right. It's genuinely been so long since I've played California games. The one time that I've actually played this is back on my cousin's neighbor's daughter's Sega Master System. Very odd memory to have there, but we had very little else to do on that Master System, if I'm being perfectly honest with you. Kind of hard to do, admittedly. It's very strange they never gave you an AI opponent in these games. Also, yeah, there's a bunch of tricks. I came first, as always, with a high score. And finally, here comes surfing. Where you need to try and ride the wave for as long as humanly possible. And there's a bunch of things that you can do in order to not be silly like me. In order to earn points, because they will grade you on this. But of course, I have fallen in 3 times. Oh, never mind. So now I turn, whoop, there I go. I'm pretty sure it's after a certain amount of times you fall in. Yeah, there we go. I still screwed up. But there are still ways you can earn points. You can try and get into, like, the wave itself in order to earn some points. You can do more tricks in the air if you can be a little bit faster about it. So this one's a bit weird. You gotta alternate between up and down, and then try and avoid random objects in the path. And if you hit 3 of them, it's game over and you're rewarded on distance. Watch, I'll fall on the, yep, splat. I jumped over the thing on the path, but then when there was no path, there was nothing I could do. And I think I went a little bit too fast there. and had a bit of a temper tantrum. Honestly, none of these games are as satisfying to play as I remember. Like, not even close. Not on this version of the game, at least. Probably doesn't help that I'm using this absolutely awful joypad, but what are you going to do? This one's weird. It's weird because this one actually works slightly differently. I instantly died. That one works slightly differently. You got to hammer the right on the D-pad, okay? And then you move up and down in order to avoid objects. But if you come down too hard, or if you come down too soft, or if you come down with just a little bit of a fuck up, a little bit of a fucky wucky on any of that, you die. And considering that I just like died immediately and got an instant game over, yeah, it's kind of rough. At least flying disc is a little bit better. There are different ways that you can catch it as well that give you slightly more points. But oh, went for the diving catch and missed it. Still came first. And I was the winner. And that was it. That was all of the events. Honestly, this game plays like shit on this console. Couldn't tell you why. You do have the ability to practice, which will let you do them over and over again, but I just, no. No, I'm sorry, California Games. I used to love ya, but you're just going to have to go in the bad tier on this one, I'm afraid. Now, let me tell you about something that I think is actually kind of important now that's worth bringing up, because California Games is the first game, I believe, that actually keeps high scores. Possibly also Alien Breed. But yeah, California Games is the first game that keeps high scores. Now, on the actual desktop website itself, you have this list of things here that gives you a full-on manual for all the games in question. It gives you everything that you need to know, including the default control maps, although you can't actually change any of these control maps, which sucks because I'd love to do that for another world. However, it tells you some very important things that you otherwise would not know. My favorite example is probably going to be, I believe here, F16 Combat Pilot, where it says... No, hang on. I know there's one here somewhere. There it is. This line right here, incredibly important. The floppy disk icon originally accessed the game's save game feature. On the A500, instead use the save states feature to save your game. Nowhere in the box or on the console itself does it tell you to do this. But it's actually more important than you might realize, because not only can you not save games without knowing this, you also don't save high scores, like here in California Games, or in an example I'll bring up later, in Worms the Director's Cut, it doesn't save things like your settings or your custom teams. Because there's just no like room on the internal memory to do it or something like that, and you have to do it all through save states. And I really think that this is important enough that it probably should have been included on the console itself. So I don't know why they didn't do this. And as a result, I'm going bad. Bad A500 Mini designers. With that said, let's go back to the console, and we're going to take on the Chaos Engine. Welcome to the maze. I'm not going to remember the controls. Here we go. So, the Chaos Engine is a top-down shooter which requires quick reflexes and an even quicker state of mind. The game is very fast. Like, it doesn't look fast, but with how quickly enemies can not only show up in your field of vision, but can take the opportunity to shoot you as well, you need to be very quick. You need to be on your marks, get set, go with this one. There's no screwing around. You need to be on the ball, otherwise you're going to die. The game is very difficult. With that said, though, it's not impossible. It's actually a pretty satisfying game to play. You've got 6 different characters, and they all behave in slightly different ways. And you've actually got an AI partner here. And you can choose who they are too, and you can actually, like, swap between their 2 abilities. So you can always have access to 2 sets of special abilities. And you can use these abilities in order to... You can use these abilities in order to give you an edge, whether it be the Molotov cocktails, or charging up your shot to give yourself first aid. There's a map one, I believe, that's not actually very useful in the grand scheme of things. And your AI partner isn't actually useless. They know what they're doing. They'll go and pick up items. They will get out of the way of enemy projectiles. Don't let them get overloaded. But they are more than capable of holding their own for a significant length of time. Not a humongous length of time, but a good length of time. So you'll just be wandering around these massive worlds, looking for these pylons that you need to turn on in order to successfully get out of the level. Constantly having enemies spawning left, right, and center. Also, it looks great and it sounds great. The soundtrack to these games are fantastic. Or at least the original Chaos engine. This is by the Bitmap brothers, and by God, they knew what they were doing when it came to the Amiga. You even have a little bit of an upgrade system. Because when you're going along, enemies and everything will drop coins. And these coins can be used later on to buy upgrades. They can restore your health, make you faster, make you hit harder. And they can also make the partner AI smarter. And honestly, ow. Yeah, they just pop us right back at the checkpoint. Screw it, we're going this way. Oh yeah, also, don't walk straight into the enemies. They will just flat out hurt you a ton. Which admittedly can make this game kind of difficult because they can come from the very edges of the map. Like, as soon as you can see them, they'll be aware of you and where you are. So just fucking leg it. Like, genuinely just fucking leg it if you get caught in like a really bad situation. Otherwise, you will probably die. Honestly, I could see this being a blast with 2 people. I genuinely could. Oh yeah, the fucking catapult bastards. There's our exit door. It's opened up because we got the 1 pylon in this level. There are usually multiple pylons. But in this one level in particular, there is only the 1. And these levels are all very maze-like as well. They've got tons of, like, little hidden secrets that you can go find. All of these keys open up, like, new paths and platforms and stuff. Not to mention the game's constantly changing up the way the level layout works, but... yeah, that was a look at the Chaos engine. I kind of suck at it, I will admit that, but I genuinely have a lot of fun playing it. It looks great, it runs great, it's a really good challenge. It'd be nice if it wasn't so focused around shooting enemies on the corner of the screen more than anything else, but it earns a good from me personally. Back to the console. What should I talk about next? You know what? Let's give you a look at the A500 itself. Let's hop back into the webcam view, shall we? Make sure the actual webcam hasn't completely fallen off. Yep, we're still alive. Very good. So let's just bring it over here. Here is the A500 Mini itself, lads. It looks really good. There is so much detail packed into it. This keyboard does not work, but all of the keycaps are properly labeled with their things on it. It's got that neat little A500 logo over there. And I just completely lost the webcam. Whoops. I guess it wasn't going to last forever, was it? Oh well. You got to see a little bit of it at the very least. I'll see if I can get that working later. I'll need to talk about the gamepad and whatever. Bung bada bung. There you go. So yes, there are 3 USB ports on the back. Actually more annoying than you might think. Because you don't have room to plug in both a keyboard, a mouse, and the gamepad simultaneously, and sometimes it feels like you need or want all 3. So it's just kind of bizarre in that sense to me personally. But yeah, I think that's all I've got to say about that. Alright, we're back. I made an absolutely grievous error in my last take on Dragon's Breath, so we're going to be giving it another try. So, with that said, let's play Dragon's Breath. Now, this game is probably going to be the first game I put on my what tier, because honestly, it's not that bad of a game, but I just haven't been able to get that far into it in order to actually, like, give you a real proper opinion on it. And I gave it a good try for an hour. And I'll explain to you why that is shortly. So this is a strategy game. And it's got a very odd option where you can play with 3 human players, or you can swap any of them out for computers. Which is kind of a nice touch. So you and a friend can play against a computer player, and you can all play on the one screen. It's actually kind of a nice little thing, and it's a neat little... like, it's just a fun little concept, isn't it? But anyway, let's just start the game real quick, because I admittedly haven't managed to get more than a few turns into this because I always end up dead. Because this game's got a lot going for it. So, the way this works is, you select a guy, using the mouse entirely for this one, and you've got a bunch of options down here. So the idea is that you've all got your own little locations in this place, and you have to go and take them over via using your dragons. And you can come here and have a look at the villages themselves and order your dragons to attack. I will attack this village. Nope, hang on. I will attack this village and force you to conquer and keep it. There we are. Because yes, the game's called Dragon's Breath. You have dragons. And they all have their own unique stats. Strength, wisdom, speed, how diseased they are. And you need to keep them alive because sending them out on too many missions in too short a time frame will result in them getting killed. You can also incubate dragon eggs. You have a few dragon eggs, and you have the ability to incubate them like this. However, incubation costs money. Sending out dragons costs money. So you need to be properly balancing your finances by getting taxes and spending your money wisely. Totally not on this weird ass looking merchant that has all of these weird little components. I just told him to bugger off. I don't need his stuff right now. But there's a reason why you need to buy these components, and these components are one of the most interesting reasons of the game. But for the time being, let's just pass time and see if my guy can manage to capture the village. And you've got all of these dragons flying around and attacking each other. Estor decided to attack me directly. And my dragon ended up coming back with its tail between its legs. That's not great. Well, his health is still okay. I should be able to send him out again. Although he may well die. Yeah, you only have a population of 166, mate. That's really not great. Great, what do I do now? I need to find another town to try and take over. I guess we'll work with this town. Dragon. Click the town. Not that. Conquer and keep. Medium zeal. And hope that this doesn't kill him. Because if it does, I'm out of the game. If you lose all your dragons, that's it. The game's done. 160 out of 481. I've been offered a reward. Why have I been offered a reward? I don't know. Maybe it was because it was an attack. Okay, but now, if I come back to my map, Yes, I have captured this this village successfully. There are 98 people here. That's not good. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to up their tax rate. And then I'm going to dig into something that... Remember how earlier on in this video that I said that it's a really bad thing they don't include manuals on the actual device itself for this? There's a reason why I think that's a bad thing. It's because of this. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the spell crafting system of Dragon's Breath. So if we swap back to the desktop for a bit, I've actually got it in its own tab here. You have this gigantic spell book here full of these ingredients and of this big set of tables. And what this does is it shows you what certain ingredients will do to the spell, and then it just leaves you to figure out the rest on your own. So for example, if I want to grow a village, what I need to do is I need to use an effector and a director. An effector decides what happens to the spell. The director decides where it goes. So I need a director that will put it towards a village. I believe that's further up. Just a moment. Director, egg, human, and village. So what I want to do is I want to grow this village. Do I have any tires? Yes, I do. I have tires. So what I want to do is I want to set the condenser and the burner to be going because they are both affected by this. And then I will take the tires and I will put it in normally. I will add a bunch of tires. And now I need to, now that I've directed it towards this village, I need to find some growth. Effectors. I've actually done this like in the background here, but I'll actually swap back to it on the next one so you can actually see what I'm doing. For the growth effectors, I need Oregons, and it just needs to be normal, and I only need to put it through the Bunsen burner and not the condenser. So let's swap back to the console. I need to turn off the condenser, keep the Bunsen burner on, find some oregonies. I believe you get some by default at the beginning of the game. Here we go, oregonies. And I just put it in normal. And I just give it a bunch. And now we have a completed spell. And when we cast the spell by clicking on the arrow here, look at that. We've got a big village. And if we back out, we can see that the population of our village has gone up to 669. Can't argue that spell crafting isn't effective, can ya? I will also come here and I will also order my dragon to come home because they are probably screwed after this. So yeah, we will order you to come home and we will pass the time. Now the reason why that I'm giving this a bit more of a what tier is because I genuinely just haven't managed to survive more than a few turns so far. I've been doing better as I go, but it's kind of rough. Especially when you need to, like, balance your book here. Like, you lose money for your dragons and the eggs that you are incubating, but you get it through taxes. So you need to get, like, a really good foothold from the very beginning, otherwise you're just going to be crippled for the rest of the game. Along with a bunch of all the other stuff that's going on, like making sure you've got the right ingredients, making sure you've got enough money, making sure the other dragons don't rain on your parade. So that's the reason why I am giving Dragon's Breath a what? Because with more time, this could easily be good. But for now, I don't have it. F16... Let's pop back onto the console, shall we? F16 Combat Pilot. Yep. This one is fun to play on the gamepad itself. I already talked about how I thought the manual was the more important thing that really needed to be in this, so I'll leave that alone for the time being. So, this one is one that desperately needs a manual all in and of itself, but you have not created a pilot's log, I don't care. This is one of those games that's like, please use save states. It's better for you to do that anyway. You pick one of the missions, and you can't actually go on to a full campaign until you've done one mission of each type. And I've had enough trouble getting off the fucking ground in this game because of just how much you need to worry about. But you get a fair amount of information going on here, including being able to set things like waypoints. You can come over here to set all the weapons, although I've just been using what the ground crew recommends, and then considering that I'm mainly going to be doing air-to-air combat, a bunch of AIM-9Ms and yeah, just a bunch of these missiles that will be good against air-to-air combat units will most likely be the best options. The AIM-120 AMRAAMs. Yeah, those are probably fine considering we're doing air-to-air combat. You can also come here to change what the weather's like, because this is a proper flight simulator. And my god, it might be the most pixelated thing I've ever seen. This is also one of the first games to actually use the alternate control scheme, which is actually kind of interesting, because it doesn't have enough buttons to fit everything on one control scheme, so they use two. Whenever you're holding the R button, it actually changes the buttons that you have available to you. It's a very interesting little concept. I guess that counts as what we need to show off this time, but we'll see. So if I hold the R button and press the up button until press up until we get to 100 thrust, we start speeding up, and then I hold down on the D-pad, and that should hopefully get us into the air without forcing us to crash. And we are in the air. You can see for such a primitive computer, it's impressive how much they managed to display on here that's actually like relevant. Also, it's worth noting that the control panel in the middle of the screen is pointing us back towards the landing pad we just came from, so not great. Also, admittedly, really cool little concept for a flight simulator that's being played on a bloody joypad. Holding the A button will force the controls to automatically center. Actually really useful. Genuinely useful. I don't know if this is something they built into the game, or if it was something that's actually part of the Amiga 500 software itself, but holy crap, it's useful. You can also use the virtual keyboard here to change all of your heads-up displays. And I genuinely have no freaking clue which one of these will tell me where the enemy is. Because I am looking for... What I'm looking for is enemy combatants. I'm looking for enemy planes. And the only way I've figured out how to see them so far is to get them into visual range, which is not great. Also, admittedly, when you're having trouble stabilizing out like that, just hold the A button. Just locks it all in place. Actually makes it... Well, I don't want to call it playable. I think my actual targets are on that little radar in the top left corner of the cockpit there. The two crosses and the big red square. At least I think that's what my target is. So I'm just hoping I head in that direction and everything works. You've also got proper yaw and can't remember what the bloody hell those do. You also have undercarriage. I can't remember what bloody button it is to bring that down and up. Which is why being able to just go home and immediately pick up on that is immensely useful. So there's the airport. Oh, hang on. We got something in the air there. Yep, I see it. What? Did I just get hit? Lack of oxygen. Descend to 8,000 feet. Am I dead? What the hell? Did I just get really hit? Like, I have no control over the plane. Well, that's death. This is another one of those games that has a really long manual, and a lot of the keys you have to worry about are actually here in the, destroyed by fire. Great. A lot of the keyboard keys you have to worry about are actually in the manual. So again, it feels weird not to have proper replacements for those online manuals in the games themselves. And oh look, it's nighttime this time. Even better. You know what the worst part is? You have to land in this fucking game too. Do you have any idea how hard it is to land in this game? Do you have any clue? Hold steady while I try and get... I think GTR is the ground target radar. But I'm not sure. Like, seriously, hang on. While I'm just climbing into the sky real slowly. F16 Combat Pilot Manual. This is all that they tell you. They barely give you any clue of a bunch of things that feel important. Or at least I don't feel like I know everything I need to know after I actually read this. And it's just really bad. I wish they'd included like the full manual, because the full manual is genuinely just like so much more has so much more in it. That's kind of insane. Wheel's still down? Can I fix that? Yep, it was the R button and A. Target in range. Fire the AMRAM. Can't even see it. Did it... I saw it go out, but is it actually tracking the... Apparently, yes. Oh, Christ. I think I'm being... I actually can't hear it right now, so it might be something you guys are hearing, but maybe I'm being hit by anti-aircraft fire or something. No, I am completely out of control again. Yeah, that's F16 Combat Pilot. Honestly, I don't think that it's this console... Well, I don't think it's the game's fault. I think it's the console's fault that this game is the way that it is. Because I think there's something to this. Although I've heard that the Amiga has a lot of great flight sims, and this is towards the bottom end of the good ones, so... God, who knows? I'll find out eventually. But for now, we'll go back to the console. And we'll play Kickoff 2. I have played Kickoff before. But it was the Kickoff game on the PlayStation Vita. I do not remember it being very good. And this isn't very good either. If I'm being perfectly honest with you. How do I select my tactics again? I don't remember how you actually do it in this one. Does it actually say here? No, it's entirely joystick. Fun. Right, usually I try and change it so there's a few more dudes on defense, so I have a better chance of getting it right, but we'll just have to make work with it here. So I'm guessing I'm going up pitch. Now, I admit, I am not a fan of soccer. But, I gotta tell you, man, I could not get into Kickoff. Because Kickoff just has some really weird controls. I've said it before and I'll say it again. This thing really suffers for not including proper manuals in the actual product itself. Because there is so much you need to worry about with how the ball controls in this game. And if I can actually get a hold of it for a minute, I'll tell you what my problems are with it. So the idea is, if you actually want to pass it to somebody, there is two specific things that you can do. You'll notice when you're dribbling the ball, or at least when the AI is dribbling the ball at this rate, that there'll be points where you will not be in contact with the ball, and you will be in contact with the ball. These pieces, this timing is very strict, and if you aren't careful, you'll probably go shooting the ball or you'll go stopping without actually wanting to. So while you're touching the ball, if you hold the joystick button in, if you hold the joystick button while you're touching the ball, you will stop. This will let you this will let you point the joystick in a direction, and please assume that I mean the D-pad on the gamepad in this case, but this will let you control the ball, and this will also let you pass. But if you are not touching the ball, and as I said, if you pay very close attention to the way that they are dribbling the ball, there is some very strict timing for when you are touching and not touching the ball. And if you press the button in while you are not touching the ball, you will do a kick when you eventually touch the ball. And this timing is incredibly hard to get down. Like, I have genuinely sat here, played 7 matches in a row, and I'm still consistently fucking up trying to pass the ball in soccer. Now, I know I suck at this game. I suck at all sports games. Soccer was never my favorite sport to begin with. But Jesus Christ, this is just not satisfying to play with. This control scheme just does not work. I cannot get this control scheme to work for the life of me. Not to mention, of course, your guys run around like chickens with their heads cut off, and dribbling the ball is really bloody hard. It's the same in Sensi, but at least in Sensi it was a little bit more magnetic, and the control scheme made sense so that you didn't end up passing the ball when you meant to shoot it, or vice versa. So, see, I was trying to hold the button there to pass it up to that guy who was just slightly ahead of the pitch than me, but it just wouldn't let me do it, because my timing was ever so slightly off. And there's more to it than this, of course, but I gotta tell you, man, just, if I'm having this much trouble with something as simple as passing, right off the bat, it genuinely becomes one of the most frustrating games I've ever played. And I've played Amiga games before this. I've played Sensi, and Sensi is hard to get used to. But holy shit, Sensi is like playing Super Mario 64 versus playing Devil May Cry when it comes to kickoff. It's just, God, it's genuinely something I can't explain. It just makes me so mad trying to play it. When Sensi did it so well, I don't know what happened here. And to be fair, this isn't just like, you know, something that they did out of the sake of necessity. Whoops. Because they only had like joysticks with one button. When they remade the Revival, they kept the same control scheme. And it's just so hard to get used to. It's genuinely such a pain in the ass to have this timing be so precise. And to be fair, I don't even know what the guys could have done about it, other than just, you know, include Sensi. Why would you not include Sensi on something about the Amiga? I don't even like sports games, and I like playing Sensi, even though the AI destroys me every single bloody time. But yeah, I've just never been able to figure out my way around kickoff. So, yeah, we all know where that's going, don't we? Sorry, kickoff. That's all I got to say. With that said, I already showed you the A500 in the previous take, so I think the webcam is working again. There's my hairy leg. Here's the pad. This is the pad you get with it. It's a little bit small, so it makes my hands hurt a little when I try to hold it, but it's perfectly okay. I don't have a massive problem with the way that it works. The buttons are all nice and clicky. Hang on. Yeah, we'll go there. The buttons are all... They're all nice and clicky. You get nice feedback off of them. Same with the triggers. The triggers are actually pretty nice. Like, it's a pretty nice sounding click. The menu and home buttons are okay. They're not like really shitty plastic. They're actually just like the other buttons, so they press in just fine. It's not like that really soft, rubbery crap you get on certain consoles. The D-pad is arguably the worst thing about it, though. You can barely feel what way you're going in terms of direction. So it ends up being a little bit annoying trying to figure out your specific directions in certain games, and we'll get to how that affected me later. But honestly, it isn't that bad. And considering that you can use other controllers on this system, the only controller I should say I was actually able to get working was my DualShock 4. And even then, this D-pad is better than the DualShock 4's. The analog stick did work, but it's a DualShock 4. It was starting to melt. It's not pleasant. Yeah. I tried a DualSense. I tried a Nintendo Switch Pro controller. I even tried an old 8-bit DOE controller I had lying around, and even it didn't work. Which is weird, because they're supposed to work on these things, but yeah, God only knows, right? Anyway, back to the console. We are going to have a look at The Lost Patrol. Now, this one is really interesting. So, it's a really simple concept. It's Vietnam. You're an army squad. You've crashed in the forest. You need to get east to your army base as fast as humanly possible, while the Viet Cong patrol the forests between you and them, and you need to try and just get shit done, basically. And if we hit the M button here, we can see how everyone's doing. We can get some people to be scouts, and then we can just let them go. And then we can select our speed. We can do things like lay traps, change our food, rest when we want to, or search the area, and load and save. But again, this is something that you do with the save states. Please include the manuals on a future revision. Other than that, though, you pick a direction and you go. And you even get these neat little pictures, and the soundtrack is awesome. It sells the theme to a fault. It's so good. It genuinely just does a really good job at selling this idea of you're lost. You're probably going to get ambushed and killed, and it's got a bunch of really nice art going for it. And you'll notice that you move faster and slower in certain terrains, and there's a bunch of other little events that can come up along the way. They will show up eventually. You can get ambushed by gunfire or grenades, and if you hold the pin for too long, you'll blow yourself up and end the game. That's kind of annoying. Your men are beginning to tire. Yeah, I know. They're going to get tired a lot because there's a lot of this place to go. So I'm going to try and do the smart thing here. If I push them far enough northeast, I can cross through a thinner region of the river and maybe try and get through that path there on the south side. Our goal is there, Duhok. But you've got so much of the jungle to go through. You're going to lose people. You're going to lose... Your men are very weary, yes, I know. If we can get across this river, I'll let them sit down for a bit. And I'll have to give them half rations though, because otherwise we're going to be running out real quick. So we'll set their rations to half rations, and then we'll let them rest for... give it an hour. Now if I press the... no, it's not the M button. If I press the grid reference button, close proximity recon. But they do also, you do also have recon report ends. You do also have them sticking out in front, and they have the potential to run across a like a lone soldier or what have you. And that ends up being a problem. I think we'll slow them down to normal for the time being. Get them northeast and try and pass them in this like grassy land here. Although it looks like the brown area makes them go really bloody slow. So either way, this is going to be a hell of a trek. How much do we have left in the way of food? Not much. You do have the option to turn off all the pictures and animations though, which is nice, in order to speed things up in the actual game here. This is genuinely just some really pretty... Oh god. Ooh, Weaver's run into a booby trap. That's one of our scouts, I believe. Oh dear. No, it's just him. Burns and cuts to feet. That's not great. You do also have to keep up the morale of your guys, because if you spend, like... If you spend too long, like, double marching them, and not giving them enough food, they'll end up deserting. They'll just fuck off. Which is an interesting concept. Again? Oh. The Lost Patrol, everybody! Holy crap, I've never had to go that to shit that quick. Oh, God almighty. I think I know the mistake I made there. I think I didn't take Weaver out of the front of the you can also play this with gamepad, by the way, which you'll want to for the mini games, which are arguably the worst part of the game because they're so jank. I think I need to take him out of the lead though. I think I put, and as you can see, it kind of randomizes what's going on here. Put you in the lead and we'll make you 2 scout. Yeah, that was the mistake I made, most likely. But let's go back to the mouse. We'll turn off the animations. And we will head southeast. Nope, I guess this part is still... At least it does actually make the game faster, since it doesn't have to load the, it doesn't have to load everything proper. And we'll double march you straight east to the bridge. We won't waste time, just go. It'd be nice if I could, like, draw a path for my guys to follow. These animations just really sell the atmosphere, not to mention the music. That's kind of why I shut up. And yes, I know the joke. Everybody wants me to shut up anyway. We'll go northeast for a bit. Alright, I was hoping that you guys would be able to, like, last a bit longer, but I'll give you an hour. We'll head northeast through this forest and hope they don't sneak up on us. Ah, here comes one of the shitty mini games. You have to play through this entire minigame while holding the R button because the entirety of this game's control scheme is on the second control set, which is just utterly bizarre to me personally. Still some good art though. Now you have to like either hold out against this guy for the rendezvous time. And just like look at the way that he's just constantly like just standing there and kicking. And the game's got some really weird collision masks, so I don't want to get too close. But yeah, like look at this. It feels like Bart and Lisa fighting in that one episode of The Simpsons. But yeah, look. I just need to back off and just let him go. They'll be here to pick me up eventually. As to why I couldn't take him on, like, with a gun, I'm guessing that we only have, like, one gun left in the entire squad. I can understand why you wouldn't want that gun to be with the majority of the people, but I feel bad for the guy who has to scout as a result. Also, apparently you do have the ability to kick in this game, but as you can see, just trying that has caused me to lose a lot of health. Oh, I forgot about that. Whoops. And you are suddenly pinned down by sniper fire. Fucking brilliant. And it comes with another one of these silly games. So yeah, you need to find the fucking sniper before they find you. And I'm pretty sure I just got shot in the face. You are dead. The Lost Patrol, everybody. It's genuinely really bloody hard. Like, it's so hard to get through. But those really wacky mini games bring it down to a meh for me personally, but it is edging towards good. And it does sell that atmosphere so well that if you do have one of these things, it is absolutely worth trying it. Speaking of things that are worth trying, let's try talking about the mouse before we move on to our next game. The webcam should still be working. Frankly, this is one of the parts of the things that I don't, the Amiga 500 Mini that I don't actually have a problem with. It's the 2-button tank mouse, but it's like 20% smaller and it runs on an optical sensor. The clicking on it is quite good. The movement of it is fine, even though it is a bit flat, and but it is still relatively easy to hold. You can use it to play all your games just fine. I don't got a problem with this mouse. I really don't. It just works. So yeah, it's actually a good mouse. You can even plug it into a computer and use it that way, like you would with the gamepad, if the gamepad was actually slightly better. With that said, back to the console, let's talk about Paradroid 90. Now, if I'm going to be perfectly honest with you, this is probably the hardest game on the console. Just without any sort of hesitation in my voice. It's actually a remake of a Commodore 64 game, and the idea is there's tons of robots that have taken over this ship. You have to kill all the robots. They will be trying to kill you in the process. Like that. And if they kill you, that's it. The game ends. You're plopped right back to the start screen. There is, of course, a way to improve your survivability. If you hold still for a second and then hold the fire button, you get to attempt a transfer. Here's what the transferring looks like. The idea is that you need to control more of these colored sections before the opponent does in order to win. And sometimes it's just absolute utter bullshit. Like, genuinely no word of a lie, it ends up being absolute utter bullshit because sometimes you just end up with situations that you cannot win. However, if you win, you take over that robot, and at the very least you get an extension to your health. Sometimes they'll have like more powerful guns and shit, but that's genuinely it. And as a result, that's the end of the game. I mean, that's not the end of the game, That's the end of what there is that this game has to offer. You can make them pull shit like that. You can heal yourself up on those. And I'll just transfer into you right away. I'm not even going to try and fight you with my regular gun. This one looks a little bit easier to get a hang of. You can see that there are these little things in the middle of the pipes that will cause the enemy to that will cause like infinite energy transfer, and that will cause the enemy to god damn it, it's kind of hard to aim with this bloody thing. Is that a deadlock? No, I actually won. Okay. But you can see there are two ways. There are twos that go into ones. There are these little things that will constantly be pumping out energy, so all you need to do is pump a little bit of energy into it and leave it alone. And so the game ends up being in like two different halves. You've got this whole, wandering around the ship, taking out every robot that's there, and also don't walk into explosions. Explosions just flat out kill you. I don't know why. They just hurt you like a lot. Probably the most frustrating part of the game, if I'm being honest with you. So you've got this whole wandering around the ship, looking for robots to shoot, then shooting them sort of thing going on. And then you got this, which is this weird puzzle that you have to worry about, where you got to try and have everything just be on your side. But of course, if you fuck up even once, you just explode and die. And that's it. Game over. No extra lives. No continues. It's just so gobsmackingly hard. It is genuinely next to impossible to survive more than 5 minutes in this game. I don't get it. I have had games a lot better than this. I've managed to clear out 3 floors before dying. But still, there's something like 15. And the enemy robot selection is like, it's not the same every time. It does change. But if anything, that just makes the problem worse. And considering that you have to do this transfer game every time, and I don't even know if this transfer game is even possible in every variation, because sometimes it just feels like no matter what you do, you will just end up losing. Like, no matter what, you'll just end up losing. And it's depressing. I don't know, maybe... I don't know, like, I don't think it has something like if you damage a robot, it makes it slower. But why would you want to damage the robot? Ends up becoming the real question. But see, look, he knows that I'm possessed by this robot. And I'm dead. I was trying to shoot around the corner, but I just couldn't get it to happen. I at least can't argue with being able to jump like right back into the game without so much as trying, but... Just the main problem is that you need to stand still for a second and wait for your capture beam to deploy before you can actually like tackle a robot in order to take them over. So it's very hard to actively do it in situations where you're being fired upon, because there's very little cover. And it can make the game a real frustration. Apparently, that one's infinite, but he's not even going to try and touch that one. I have so few that I can rely on here. It's actually kind of insane. Thankfully, I still won, but that's not going to help. Not much, anyway, because look, that guy's already seen me. Probably because he had his own, like, little capture robot in his thing there. You can still capture while you're on the back of other robots. It's possible. And there are things you can do, like if I come over here, for example, and hold the A button, it actually lets me transfer into the computer, but all it does is give you, like, statistics. So, it doesn't give you, like, any bonuses for reaching the computer on that level. It doesn't help you out much. I genuinely don't know what to do about it. The game is just so mind-bogglingly hard that I find myself being at a bit of an impasse. Yeah, that guy is a twit. Thankfully, I can capture him. No, I can't. Apparently, that's just a regular dude. Pretty sure I already knew that, but... Nah, we're done. You know what? It's a cool idea, but for the life of me, it's just so difficult that it makes it just bad. That is genuinely so difficult that it ends up being a bad game, which is an immense disappointment. What else is there left to show you about the A500 that I'm not saving for the end of the video? Not much else. Yeah, you've seen everything. It really is like a quite minimalistic package, and the majority of it is based on the website for the rest of it. There is a small quick start guide, but it basically just says go to the website to get the manual. So we're probably just gonna run out the rest of the games. With that said, Pinball Dreams. Pretty well known, this one, at least by Amiga game standards, because it is a game by Digital Illusions CE. Nowadays known as DICE, the creators of the Battlefield series. I'm not even gonna say anything. It's not even a surprise anymore. I just suck. What doesn't suck though is this game, because I've played this before. It was actually available as like a PSP Mini for the longest time, and I played a fair amount of it back in the day because I like my... God damn it! Jesus Christ! I have had so many problems. Oh, good lord. But anyway, as I was saying, I've played a lot of this because it's really bloody good. It has really good physics. That's just kind of what saves it. The tables are a little bit simple, but when you've got physics this good, it's kind of hard to care. Pinball games didn't feel this good for years after DICE came along and did their thing with Pinball Dreams and Pinball Fantasies, which was the other one. Oh, come on! You can't even nudge it! You can't even nudge it to the freaking left or right. So I just got some really bad luck there. Absolutely astonishing. That sucked. That also sucked! Jesus! Really? What the hell? The game never does this to me. It's never fucking done this to me before. It's never screwed me over this badly. So there are 4 different tables. Their themes all vary quite a bit. And the dot matrix display they got going on up the top there is just, again, it's just excellent. This is just a genuinely really good set of tables. Except for Ignition, apparently, because Ignition just seems absolutely content to screw you over. And down I go again. Hang on. I've got a button here that lets me quit. Alright, let's try table number 2, because good lord, Ignition just absolutely floored me there. Let's see if Steel Wheel will do me any better. I absolutely hate the idea of outlanes in pinball. They're probably that. Fuck. Be dry. I swear that these don't screw you over anywhere near as badly as this under normal circumstances. It's because I've got the camera on. That's the only reason. I usually have decent runs on these tables. It's just, as soon as the camera goes on, it's like, okay, now I'm going to screw him over. I'm trying to hit the right lane. Nah, that's fine. I swear, this actually is a satisfying game to play. It's got good physics. It's perfectly capable of being good. It's just being a real dick right now. And it's so annoying. And it's just really helped out by its themes, which are well realized. It's helped out by the physics, which are just fantastic, and it just works. Absolute miss. Absolute miss. And down we go. Hey. Last ball, and then I'll give it up because the game is just intent on being a meanie to me today. There we go. And we're done. I'm just having no luck with these games whatsoever. Look, that's it. I got at least a slightly decent run there, but like not even close really. But look, I swear that the Pinball Dreams and Pinball Fantasy games are good. Just as soon as I turn the camera on, it just goes to shit. It really does. God help me, I hate my life. Anyway, Project X. Guess who forgot to turn the video back to the console before they started recording Project X? This asshole. Anyway, Project X. This is the second hardest game on the console. I'm going to show you this game in arcade mode and we'll see how long I can survive. There is also auto fire, which is very useful because you need to be dodging a lot in this game. And you've got 3 different types of ships, but I don't know why you wouldn't take the battle class, because it just does the most damage to everything. You can play this in 2 players. You can also choose what level to start on, but you need to actually get to that level in arcade mode before that unlocks, which I do not think saves unless you use the save states. Yeah, thanks game. Or should I say thanks console. Very Alien Breed and Alien Breed 3D style story presentation here, but I guess it's a Team 17 thing at this point. And away we go. The game is actually very simple. It's Galaga style upgrades, right? So you've got like that little bar down the bottom there. You spend all the power-ups you've collected up to that point, and when you do, you get the upgrade that is listed on that part of the thing. And you have to try and upgrade your stuff as far as humanly possible without dying, because this is one of those asshole games that doesn't have... Oh, well, that actually does have losing power levels on death. I have gotten quite good at this first stage. I still won't be able to finish it, because this is a very, very hard game. And trust me, you will see why very shortly. When I get through all these asteroids. Here he comes. Look at this bullshit. This isn't even as bad as it gets. Just look at this bullshit. Just constantly streaming in just this major amount of bullets. You just have to constantly be doing this. And don't try and cut the loop a bit short so you can hit him a bit easier with like your homing missiles or what have you. Because they will just come along and just screw you out of it. Don't even try. They will just break out of the curve and shoot you in the face. But the actual shooting side of things, the moving, the weapons, how effective they are, this is all pretty good. Like, honestly, I barely have a problem with this. I actually enjoy playing it when it's not being incredibly difficult. Tiny bullets coming at you when you've got 20 other things to worry about. That's a shooting game for the Amiga for you. We haven't even gone into Blood Money yet. Although, to be fair, Blood Money isn't actually on this thing. I'm just making a reference to another game. At least I've managed to build up all my missiles, he says, tempting fate. Let's go for magma and immediately get shot. Because of that bloody thing right there. That's one of the reasons why this game's a pain in the ass.
Select now for speed up.
I'll just go back to guns, maximum speed. Because, if I remember correctly... no, I did not remember correctly. I forgot about these things. These things are weird. What's up with these things? Apparently I can get a charge shot. That's what the build is, by the way. It's a charge shot. You don't want it. I'll just come out and say it. You do not want a charge shot. You should not even bother. Oh yeah, these things can shoot at you too. And they are constantly swarming in from the top of the screen. Get myself another homing missile. Shooting, just keep shooting, just keep shooting, shooting. What do we do? We shoot. We'll go to Plasma, because Plasma is actually really fucking strong against the first boss. I'm not entirely sure why. Bullet, I saw that. Plasma. More plasma power, please. That would be nice. Wow, I'm actually... Oh yeah, these bloody bastards. These guys are really quick. They also shoot. Might as well power up the side cannons, because I think I'm going to need them. If only for a little bit of extra flexibility. More plasma.
Power up.
I could probably build up enough for an invulnerability power-up right now, but I don't think I'm going to get the power-ups from the rest of these waves. I'm not. I only got up to magma. Alright, here comes the boss fight. Fires all of these bullets. And I'm dead. Because it tracks you backwards. It's genuine bullshit. Yep, and I'm dead. And here we go again. Might as well get the maximum speed. What the hell happened to that bullet there? So yeah, you got to avoid that. Then he comes in and tries to attack you, and that's the only point that he's vulnerable. Makes it very annoying to actually hit the bastard. Actually, probably a good reason to have side shots. So you want to know why this game got a special edition? Because the original version was too hard. This is the original version. I think the rookie was the only thing they actually added in the other one. But yeah, I'm actually doing way better than I thought, but I've had so much time to practice that first stage that I know most of what's coming in it. Stage 2, I am definitely not as good at.
Fly around rock surface.
Just giant missiles? Like, sure, okay. Admittedly, it isn't as hard as, whatchamacallit. It isn't as hard as Paradroid. But it definitely still takes the title of the second hardest game on the A500. By a significant margin. And the snake thing comes from behind and just whoops me ass. Wow, that's dirty.
Now for speed.
This is a stage where if you collide with the ground, you will die. Although I do admit that Yeah, that's it. Although I do admit I like the idea that it... I don't even remember what I was going to say there anymore. It has been a 3-hour recording session. Oh well, yeah, top 10. Please enter your name. Nothing but maturity on this channel. Grand Theft Auto, but Andreas. Anyway, that was Project X. Again, the difficulty just kind of does it in for me, but not as badly as Paradroid 90, so I'm willing to give that one a meh. With that said, we move on to Quack. Yeah, I know, a bit of a change, but we'll work with it. Let's try an easy one. This kind of reminds me of Bubble Bobble. So, the concept of this game... Honestly, there are probably better games to remind me of that would be like more relevant to this. But the idea is that you're a duck, you've got tons of eggs, you need to wander around and use your eggs in order to defeat enemies, collect scoring items, and get to the end of the scene, which is a singular room. But honestly, it's a pretty quick game, and the challenges are kind of neat, not massively so, but I'm not going to say I hate the amount of challenges it's got going on here. Just got to be careful not to get hit twice more. Once more. Listen, all of this falling fruit does not help me out. However, there are a couple of weird things about it. One is that you've actually got a limited amount of eggs. And the only way that you get more eggs is by collecting as much fruit as possible. That ups the amount of eggs that you can carry into the next... Well, it gives you more eggs to carry into the next stage, and it is very unusual. Well, I'm dead. Let's try that again. And they do introduce some neat concepts as you go on. More enemies to fight, more bonus stages, just more weird stuff. But outside of that, I actually kind of enjoy it. It's a really simple game, but that doesn't really hurt it. It actually does it a favor. It is, the platforming is pretty satisfying. And you've got, and using the eggs in order to actually like damage the opponents is just like a really nice little touch. And it plays well. It's very smooth. It handles great. I have no idea how they expect me to get into that room. There's got to be something to that, but I don't know. They do say you need keys to unlock other things, but if you walk into them, you just die. So now we just have a challenge. We need to collect as many things as possible. And I died, but that's fine. You still get your bonuses on the bonus stage. You still get your score that you earn on the bonus stages. Oh yeah, also hidden stuff. Honestly, this isn't that bad. I've actually been enjoying playing it. Where the fuck you think you're going, Key? Get back here. Shit. Yep, it is magnetically averse to my existence. Of course it is. Wish I bought my Bradley. What does that mean in this context? The falling fruits. That key down there is probably what I'm looking for. Yep. Big fat fruit on the way out. I'll take that. Apparently I earned an extra life. That's nice. Managed to sneak that egg on through there. It's a simple game, but I honestly enjoy it. It's just satisfying in the moment-to-moment gameplay, and not very often you get a decent game like this. Probably games that do this concept better, but I wouldn't know. We're talking about the A500 Mini here. Not something I'd buy the A500 Mini for. But honestly, it's satisfying enough for me to give it a thumbs up. Damn it, I need that egg. Well, not that egg, that key. So I need to fall down here, bingo, jump over there, bingo number 2. Maybe you get... I'm guessing the other door is something that happens when you, oh, this one. Oh, this one. So you basically just need to be fast. Grab the keys. Excuse me, please. I have 100 egg. Apparently. Tons of egg. Thank you. I'll just travel up top, grab that, and... I wonder what these numbered potions are for exactly. Right, I actually need to collect that so the bubbles don't pop. Oh, this is the helicopter hat. I got another extra life. Ain't that something? Alright, we're going to stop here, but I think you've got enough of an idea of how Quack works. It's actually pretty decent. I don't have a problem with it. It's just smooth, simple, and decently fun to play. Not something I'd outright call good, but I'm happy to give it a meh leaning towards good. So back to the console. The Sentinel. This is the one game that I would call completely unplayable on this system. Purely because of the input methods available to you when you take it out of the box. Because this game is absolute bonkers. I've even gone online and read the manual, which again you need to do to understand what the fuck is going on here. So, yeah, again, please, manual on device, thank you. But look, this is what you're supposed to do, right? You're supposed to look around and find the Sentinel. The Sentinel controls the world. What you need to do is gather energy. You gather energy by placing down things on tiles that you can see. So, for example, if I find this tile over here, I will hold a button and press... not that. I will hold a button and press B on it, and then I will spawn a Sentinel, and then I will transfer into this Sentinel. I am now looking back at myself, more or less. Now I just press a button to absorb myself. Right, I have to actually be looking down to absorb. There we go. And now I can make another one over here. And then I can transfer into that. No, not that. That. Now I absorb everything. And now I've moved. However, the Sentinel will start looking at you. This is a problem. Because when the Sentinel looks at you for long enough, it will start sucking your energy away. So you need to transfer yourself away in order to actually survive being looked at by the Sentinel. And the entire idea of the game is to get high enough in order to actually fight the Sentinel by being on its level and absorbing it in the same way that you would absorb something else. So, frankly, just on the face of it, this game is absolute bonkers. Just on the absolute face of it, this game is just nonsense. Although I admit I kind of appreciate what they've got going on as an idea. It's just genuinely impossible to control, because it feels like if you want to be playing this game even like remotely efficiently, you need to have both of the B to transfer, turn, down, and absorb the Sentinel. There. I've won. So you need to be looking around the arena, absorbing shit, buying the, using that energy in order to get yourself around the map. Why can I not absorb this from here? I can see the tile that it's sitting on. Oh, bloody hell. Might as well just grab you then. No. I think that means I won. But, great. Won't even let me absorb shit now. That's fun. Yeah, look, I can spend the energy, but it sure as hell won't let me, Alright, whatever. No, not that. Oh, crap. I've left myself without enough energy to actually get on there now. And then I hit the hyperspace button by accident and I died. So let me try and explain that to you all in ways that make sense. So, you're the Sentinel. You're not the Sentinel. You use energy. It's up there in the top left, represented by those things, right? And you use that energy to create objects. You can create trees just to deposit your energy. You can create boulders, which will put your energy, which you can use to get yourself a higher vantage point. And then you can use basically these doll things. And then when you transfer into it by using the B button, you then turn around and you are now facing yourself, which you can then absorb. You use these abilities to move around the overworld until you can get to the Sentinel itself. And then once you get to the Sentinel itself, well, that's it basically. You absorb the Sentinel and you win. But I'm currently using like this really strange set of controls here because they expect you to play this entirely on gamepad where your gamepad moves around like this. Yeah, good fucking luck, I'm using the mouse. Then you have to use your mouse to mouse over the bottom of the, the tile that you want to put something on. Then you have to hold the R button and press either the X button or the B button in order to spawn something. Then you have to spawn yourself by using R and the X button. Then you have to transfer yourself in by looking at the base, looking at the thing you're standing on and pressing B to transfer to it. Absorb the thing behind you. And then move on. And you have to do this all the way up to where the Sentinel is by avoiding the Sentinel. I always forget it's the B button. You have to do this all the way up to the Sentinel. At which point you can then absorb the Sentinel. But you have to be higher than it, so let's get ourselves higher than it. Oh god, is it looking this way? Yep, it's looking this way. So I'm just going to hit hyperspace, which lets you basically jump somewhere else, but it's going to be lower. It's going to be lower than the Sentinel. Or equal to it. But yeah, once you get on top, once you absorb the Sentinel, you can basically transfer into its spot and then move on to new levels. And if I just hit hyperspace fast enough, you'll see here that there are 10,000 levels, because landscape 0000, you can go all the way up to 9999, and you slowly build up, and you move up the amount of landscape equal to the energy you have left, which is trees are 1, bowls are 2, the dolls that you can inhabit are 3. And so you've got to get all the way up to stage 9999. And that's the entire game. It's kind of nutty. But frankly, it just doesn't work that well on this system because of the way that you have to control it. So, I'm putting it in what? Because honestly, it's a cool idea. Having to try and outpace the Sentinel, trying to race around this terrain. And there's apparently enemies that come along as you go along that are good enough to get an eye on you and start hurting you themselves. And it's actually it's a neat idea. But I feel like I just don't have the inputs to play it properly in this particular case. With that said, Simon the Sorcerer. Back to the console. We have a save state for this one. I'm just going to let the text play out. Because here's the thing about this game. It's trying to be Secret of Monkey Island, but it's just not that funny. It's got the same adventure style aspect. Hell, it even looks like it runs on the same engine. And it's trying to have the same kind of humor. But the writing just isn't creative and witty enough. It reminds me of a line. I don't remember where I heard this, but I'm pretty sure it's just one of those old proverbs or what have you. Brevity is the soul of wit. This game talks too much. That seems to be its biggest problem with the humor. Why don't you have a go and find out? They say curiosity killed the troll, but here goes, because I know what's going to happen next. Yeah, sick him. I do appreciate it. The story is pretty simple. You're some guy from some random place. You've been sucked into this fantasy world and you just need to try and defeat this evil sorcerer by having a bit of a wander around. God, did you just poke him in the eyes? God, that's actually kind of mean. I'm not going to say it's not enjoyable for how over the top it is, but this is meant to be a comedy game, and I don't find it that funny. At the very least, it's a beautiful game and nice to look at, although I got to admit the soundtrack on it kind of gets on my nerves because it repeats a lot. But you go around, you pick up items, you use them to solve puzzles and whatnot. I played this for about half an hour before I decided that was enough. I genuinely don't think it's that bad. Not at all. It's just, as I said, brevity is a soul of wit, and this game does not have that much in the way of wit. I remember how clever the writing for Secret of Monkey Island was. The insults that you could use 2 different ways as part of sword fighting. That was brilliant. This game doesn't seem to have anything like close to that. In fact, it kind of feels like something Yahtzee Croshaw would write in his old adventure games. Notably, this game is actually pretty friendly in terms of adventure game. As far as I'm aware, you aren't locked out of anything in particular. You've got a map that lets you fast travel. There's a fair amount going on in that sense. Hi, how you doing? Okay. I imagine he'll pop up on the map at some point. Gonna need like a bucket and some water, aren't I? But where am I gonna find them? It's all about just having a wander. And I'm bloody right back where we started. Why am I not surprised? Honestly, this game only looks big. It's actually pretty small by the looks of it. No, I haven't gone in the water yet, you slack-jawed yokel. It's okay. I just wonder why the original Monkey Island didn't get on here instead. Honest question. Well, we got water. Is there anything here that I can interact with? I'm not seeing any prompts pop up. Yeah, I guess not. Oh, I saw it right there. Gorge. Is someone fishing? Okay, apparently I'm not... Figured I'd try and, like, yell down at him, but whatever. We won't stick around in this game for too much longer. I feel like I've made the points I want to. It's just that... This is, like, what, 90% of... Oh. Nope, nothing. Use door with what? Okay. Yeah, use this to speed around the game. Okay, use the map. So we've got some crossroads there. The troll bridge, the owl tree, the village, and the witch's cottage. Yeah, I don't really know where they want me to go here. I guess I'll go back to the village. Maybe the shop's got something for me. Cakes, cosmetics. Admittedly, it's also kind of hard to actually read this text on this color palette. No, bugger all new here. It's unfortunate. Oh, I wonder where those beans came from. Okay. There's gotta be something I can do with a ladder and a magnet. Just God knows what. Aw. It's worth a try. Have you got any dodgy salesman repellent? How unfortunate. Need to click a little bit inside, and there we go. Yeah, frankly, I got no idea, and I'll just be wandering around for hours like I usually do with these bloody games, so let's just pop back out. It gets a meh. Because, yeah. You've seen everything there is to see. With that said, Speedball 2 Brutal Deluxe. Now, this is some good shit. That is some good looking art. Anyway, this is a extreme sports game. Well, not an extreme sports in the sense that you might know of. You can play a few different modes, just an arcade mode, team versus team, until you get all the way up to the top. Leagues and cups, which work the same way you would expect them to, so we're just going to play knockout for a bit. We have the opportunity to upgrade our players. They have individual stats that can help them out. So we're just going to upgrade everything once, because honestly, that's probably the best way to go about things. You can even give upgrades to individual players. Like you can give all of your front runners more attack power and all of your backline more defensive power, which is actually a nice little touch. And then the game starts. This is much more extreme sports. You can tackle people to steal the ball, but it also has a couple of like really weird arcadey elements as well. Like, if you manage to get the ball through this sort of multiplier thing here, it actually ups the amount of points you get over the course of the game, which is very bizarre. And you can also throw the ball against those stars on the wall there in order to actually get a minor amount of bonus points, which is very strange indeed. And you can also throw into those stars in order to actually, like, get them to lose points, which is very, very strange to me. And of course, the game's actually got way simpler controls than, the game's actually got, like, way simpler controls than you might expect, because it just runs on the one joystick, right? But it doesn't need anything other than, shit. Of course. It doesn't need anything other than that, because you just got, you just tackle. If you don't have the ball, if it's in the air, you'll jump to grab it. Press it, minorly. Just give it a light tap, and it'll, just go for a slight ride up into the air. If you hold it, it'll do a really high slide into the air. And as a result, the game just controls really bloody smoothly. Like, no word of a lie. It's just, really? Really? God damn it. Because I thought I was in control of someone else. I always hate these bloody automatic player assignment systems. They never seem to assign the player that I'm actually wanting to control. You've even got, like, warp points that appear on, like, the sides of the thing. They'll put the ball on the other side of the stadium. It's really strange. But honestly, it works. And I admit, I'm having a ton of fun with it. Just... Gotcha! And I'm pretty sure I still have the multiplier, so that's going to give me a bit more score than that normally would. Yep, we're tied. We're tied, and we're down to 45 seconds. Because matches in this are short. Oh, overwhelmed by 3 players. I'll just be taking that. I'll just chuck it up in the air. Donk. And if you fill up all those stars, it actually gives you a few bonus points. Ow. Kind of hard to play on this pad, if I'm being perfectly honest with you, because the directions, with how much you need to be changing direction in this game, like even more than something like Sensi or Kickoff, it actually makes it kind of difficult. It actually kind of hurts. Oh god, we're about to lose. 27-28. Oh, that's painful. We're going to give that another try. Just so you can see a bit more gameplay. And they get harder as you go on. Let's try something a little different, though. We'll give everyone some more defensive power. And some more speed. Let's just see if we can try outrunning them. And yeah, attack power, why not? We'll just prop them up like that. And a brain booster to make them slightly smarter. Why not? We'll see if that works better for us in comparison to the last set of stats that we upgraded, eh? So the entire idea of the single player is that you get a lot of this money and you can use it to buy, sell, and trade players so that you can use them to upgrade your players throughout the match, throughout the cup. In this knockout mode, it's basically just money for upgrades. Which is absolutely fine, because you want to be going for something a little bit more arcadey in that sense. You get back here. Yeah, it's fine. You want to be using them for, like, upgrades in that sense, but... Oh, shit. Jeez, I'm having so much bad luck with what guys it wants me to be controlling. Throw it in the multiplier, come back around the other side and completely miss it. Throw it up and over, and back through the multiplier again. Now we've got the points advantage. Now we just gotta try and actually score a goal. Gotcha! 20 points. And we are 3 seconds from the second half. Those little bauble things on the side supercharge the ball so that you can't actually like put your dudes near it. Or at least the other team can't put their dudes near it. I was looking for my bloody goalkeeper there. I could not see him. Because you actually control the goalkeeper quite directly in this game. Just get it down the field. Get it down the field some more. Throw it up and over. You grab it and chuck it against the wall. That's not what I was intending. You get back here. I really wish that the indicator that I'm controlling someone was a little bit bigger on screen, just so I have a little bit more advanced warning than what I normally get. Put it on the other side of the stadium. Pass it to... No. No, you get back here. Wow, he really threw it, like, directly away from the goal. Yep, because I swapped to the goalkeeper because the ball was closer to him, I was trying to defend with that guy, and it went in with that guy. Right. All I need to do is get the ball and then run away with it. Just play keep away for as long as humanly possible. Play keep away for as long as humanly possible. There we go, 24-12. This is actually a good game. Like, this is genuinely great. I've never actually played it before this point. Let's see, how much money have I got this time? Not much to work with, and Now, hang on. All my team, I want them to have... Honestly, I could do with them being a bit faster. And then, what can I buy for 120? Yeah, I'll make the throws or elbows or whatever a bit more powerful. That'll do. They're really speedy, but not great at much else. So basically, we're just going to be wanting to try to run the ball. So it's just genuinely satisfying to play on a base level, right? It's just, it feels so good. And it doesn't feel, like, overextended by some, like, over-the-top mechanics like you play in some football games or what have you, right? It's just pure over-the-top action with a bunch of arcade pinball-like bullshit around the outside, right? And I like it. I like it a lot. It's hard as hell, but it's hard enough that it's not so hard as to be incredibly frustrating, right? Damn, I almost got some bonus points. Come here, you. I can gain on ya. Gotcha. I'll just throw that up towards the corner. Yes. Few bonus points for me, please. Shit, I just threw it directly into his face. Where's my boys? There's my boys. Why'd you just pass it back and forth? This AI is not the smartest. Run it in. Run it in. Ah, just a bit too high on the throw. Half time, 4-4. Yep, completely forgot I was meant to be going the other way. Just don't mind me. Goalkeeper with the beautiful save. Just chuck it. Just get it out of the way. Alright, I'll take that. Thank you. Beautiful save again by the goalkeeper. Oh god, what happened there? It's just so satisfying to play on a base level. And that's what makes this work so well. If I'd been paying just a little bit more attention, I would have had room for some bonus points, but... No, 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 no! Shit! I have 14 seconds. That's not good. Oh, come on. Oh, come on! Well, rest in peace my chances of the league. What are you giving me that look for? But yeah, Speedball 2 is so good. It's got that sports feeling while maintaining this arcadey atmosphere and a really simple control scheme, but it just feels so good moment to moment that, yeah, I love it. I love it. If I had to pick a favorite game on this system, would this be it? Honestly, it probably is. Yeah. Okay. Alright. Let's move on to Stunt Car Racer, shall we? Yep, single player league, name B. Jumpin' Jack, Roadhog, and Butt. Alright, let's go. Start the racing season. We're on the little ramp. We're going to be doing a drop start. And away we go! So this is Stunt Car Racer. It is a series of one-on-one races on stunt tracks against these AI opponents. You have a limited amount of boost, you have a limited amount of damage, and you basically just need to try and come first. As far as I'm aware, there's 3 laps on every stage, and you just go for it. And these physics are actually really good. Like, these are genuinely some great physics. You can feel the rough and tumble of how hard these cars are supposed to be. And while I'm never an advocate for lower frame rates, I can see how it kind of helps the experience here by making it feel just that more juddery and rough, so that it really feels like you're driving this massive stock car over these banked turns and huge jumps and what have you. And honestly, like, I would love it. Well, I would love it if this game performed better. Like, no word of a lie. But I gotta tell you, man, it feels good to drive in it already. The engine sounds are kind of obnoxious and there's no music, which kind of sucks. This was back in the day where you had games that just couldn't do both at once on these old computers because music took up too much processing time. Feels so weird to say that in, like, what, 29 years after this computer was officially cancelled. Not after it came out, after it was cancelled. After it went off production. But yeah, it plays good. And there is actually, like, proper danger to it. Like, these lines, it is, like, it looks like it's easy to stay in them, right? But if you're using your boost, or if you're going too fast, or if you're even going too slow, you will fall off this track. And I guess one of the downsides of this game is the enemy AI. Because it just, what's the word I'm looking for? It's too perfectionist. In that it rarely ever makes a mistake. It rarely ever falls off. If you fall off once, you'll be using the majority of your boost to catch back up. Like, I used 1/3 of my boost in that race, and I did get a fair amount ahead. But it does make it a bit of a pain in the neck. So I got both the fastest lap and came first, so I got 3 points. And the idea is that you need to get a certain amount of points in order to progress onto the next division, which comes with even harder AI and more advanced tracks with harder turns, more jumps and what have you. And you really have to be working at your jumps and your working at your proper braking and accelerating and boosting, because when these tracks get difficult, it gets so easy to go over the edge. It gets so easy. Actually, do I have a save state? I do, but I think that was after I lost, so that's unfortunate. So I'm stuck in Division 4 anyway. But yeah, look, I'm grinding up against the wall and it's doing me damage. I'm coming in too hard here, so I'm going to have trouble controlling myself, and I've gone over the edge. And as you can see in the bottom left there, that number that's climbing up by 30 or so each time, that's the opponent. That's how far away they are from me, getting ahead of me. And so, like, when they're that far ahead, you've got no choice but to lay on your boost as thick as humanly possible, right? And you can catch up, but when it starts to get more difficult, you start to need to become a real perfectionist, unlike me who falls off the edge again. Let's see if I can start up a practice race that actually has a harder track, just to show you how intense that they get. Yep. I want to not the Hall of Fame. That does give you some lap times and what have you, but again, something else that won't be saved. Tracks in Division 1, please. The drawbridge. What does that look like? Holy crap. Let's give it a go. Admittedly, it is as simple as it looks. Like, it's got very little in the way of proper gameplay mechanics outside of just boosting accelerating and turning, but it feels good to play. I guess that's why they call it the drawbridge. I'm guessing when you take a hit too hard, you get that bullet hole on the top, and if you take too many too hard hits, it'll just kill you. That's my guess. No, I'm willing to bet I know what that does. I'm willing to bet that's decreased the amount of maximum health that I have. Oh, that's interesting. Again, I never play this too dangerously, but I'm just trying to show off a little here. Crap. How did I make it through that? What is the... Oh, shit. Well, we're going up high. If I fall off from here, it is my doom. And it's got bumps in the road. Oh dear. Oh no. Whoa. That's the edge. Let's just gain some speed for the fun of it. Whoa! And I'm off the edge. Nah, I like this. It's incredibly simple, but it requires a lot of skill and a lot of practice. I'm happy to put that in the good tier, if I'm being perfectly honest with ya. Not to mention, it's a pretty nice technical achievement for something as simple as the Amiga. With that said, Supercars 2. We are coming up on the 3-hour mark. It's been a lot longer than that for me because I've had to cut a lot of this out, but there we go. I also appreciate that they advertised Lotus Esprit Turbo Challenge 2, which is not included in this. So Supercars 2 is the better top-down-ish racer of the pack. So it's actually got a lot going for it, this one. Mainly the fact that you can blow up other cars. But still, you are basically just doing regular old racing, but you've got weaponry. You also have the ability to, like, upgrade your cars and stuff, of course, as you go, and you have to worry about the amount of damage you take. Thankfully, an opponent hitting you isn't going to take a massive amount of chunk off your damage bar, because they will hit you a lot. And to qualify in this game is to only come 5th. But any lower than 5th and you'll basically just get chucked out of the league. Not that hard, at least on the easy tracks, but they start giving you harder and harder tracks as they go. Of course, you can buy weapons to screw over your opponents as well. You've got mines that you can fire out the back and rockets that come out of the front. And you can buy stuff with them as well. The one thing I will say about this game that isn't particularly great is the racing feel. This does not feel great to play. It's adequate. Oh, wouldn't it be adequate, more or less, right? Turning is a pretty, like, slow curve. The actual missiles firing and whatnot takes ages to actually come out of the, takes ages to actually come out of your car and get going. At which point they probably won't hit the target. You need to aim ahead pretty well. And the center speed is not great. So I got 5 grand and 5 points. Let's see if the game wants to take that away from me. They do. The Department of Transport Inspector wants to talk to you. What is the speed limit for a car in a built-up area? Under 30 miles an hour. What does this sign mean? No giraffes, maximum height, or narrow road. Narrow road. You're lucky not to be banned. I recommend you get docked 4 points. So, I won that race, but because the Minister of Transportation or whatever was like, fuck you, I lost all of those points except one. I will upgrade my engine and some nitro. I don't want to buy mines because the prices flex up and down a lot in this game. So you need to like just be a little bit wary of that. And you also need to like pick stuff, pick what's going in the front of the rear. Like you can choose like rear missiles here, or you can choose the Homer missile or the Super missile, but you can't choose ram, armor, engine, or... Oh, you can choose nitro. Alright, we'll try nitro for a bit. And this is race 2. The upside to this is that they actually give you and by this, I mean the fact that they'll interrupt and make you do things like a license test for a country you've never been in. The upside is that you have so many races to make it up that it never ends up being truly a problem. And it does give the game a little bit of flavor, but I will admit it's kind of annoying. Just purely on the face of it, you know? Wow, those engine upgrades are really doing me some good. I am moving so fast right now. Yeah, note to self next time I play Supercars 2, actually use those bloody engine upgrades. Right into some missiles. So where's it going to put me? Right there, and I'm not even facing in the right direction to make the jump, but I still do it because I have my engine upgrades. Wow, this course was a bitch the first time I went through it, because man, that jump can be a little bit rough. You can bash cars around a bit, but it's not going to help. If anything, it's just going to hurt you, because it'll just damage your car. I'm okay. Driving feel not great, rest of it is pretty satisfactory though. Admittedly, I like this better than all-terrain racing, mainly because it doesn't feel like massively over-the-top challenging. I do appreciate how those cars barely even make it half the time. Although to be fair, I imagine putting it on hard would really put emphasis on the need to get better driving experience, but at least in this case, you're able to actually like pick easy, and therefore you can race around in something that's not going to be as difficult to work with. You're the guy... Wow, did I just inch ahead at the last second there? Yes, I did. Also, the names of these drivers. Nigel Mainsail. That's Nigel Mansell. That's like the one driver I know. And as you can see, because I lost those 4 points, I'm coming in second. Cats Against the Bomb, apparently. Haven't you seen The Smog? No, is it a good film? No, there's all this thick smoke in the way. Yes, but my car has a cat. Is your car fitted with a catalytic converter? Yes, I had one fitted last week. The noise from your car is terrible. Haven't you got a silencer? No, I like loud noises. Yarg, apparently. It's fitted to my front missile. None of these are good choices. I feel like I'm being screwed here. £4,000. So all that money that I just earned, and I can barely afford the repairs, let alone stocking up on anything new. Absolute bull. Still, I like it. Just eat missile. Thank you. This one's a bit of a toughie because of all the tight corners. At least I've got my engine upgrades, which will help with the acceleration, getting me back up to speed. It's very important in this track because of how many twists and turns and bends there are, and oh my god, I really wish there was a little bit more of the game on screen at once, I tell you that much. Wow, what happened to me there? Bounced off the wall pretty hard there, that was something. I tried to activate my nitro. Also notably, if you're going fast enough and you do a hard enough turn when you let off the accelerator, you'll do a very satisfying skid turn. Don't get me wrong, it's not the best racing game I've ever played by any stretch of the imagination. It all really just comes down to that driving feel. It's just so basic. If you had put together ATR's driving with Supercars 2's track design here and whatnot, this genuinely would work a lot better. Like noticeably slow. Noticeably, it's been 3 hours. I'm kind of having a stroke here. Noticeably slow, I was about to say. We have 0 laps left. Are you the guy I'm actually trying to beat, or are you just a guy that we ended up lapping? Either way, a lot of... Yeah. He got way out in front a while back. So where am I now? Still in second, thanks to Alan Phosphate. At least I got all the money this time. Notably, repairs in this game are kind of annoying because they seem to restore a completely random amount of your bar. Like the first two were 400 and they got back pretty good amounts, but then the tires were just bleh. And your engine costs a fuck ton more to get this time. I'll do the full repairs. This will be our last race. Just so we don't stick around on this game for too long. We've only got 4 left after this, guys, although it's going to be a little bit more than that for reasons that we'll see shortly. Probably should have live streamed this now I think about it, but oh well. I'm playing the games I enjoy, it's fine. There was a mine in the tunnel, you cheeky little bastards! Tunnels kind of suck in this game. The only way you can tell whether or not you're going straight is how the camera is arcing. Another bloody mine! You cheeky little shits! Oh, that's what nitros do. They don't make you go faster, they just make you hop. But yeah, you can only tell how straight you're going in tunnels by whether or not the camera is going straight with you. Which is very annoying. And of course I run straight into the missile. Yeah, you know what, we're done. We're spending too long on this already. Before we move on to Titus the Fox, I'm going to give that a good, but it's bearing down into meh. I'll just say that. Now, back to the console. I'll try not to forget it before the end of this take. Titus the Fox. This is the worst game on the console. Just, there, I said it. This is the worst game here. And if it'll actually load up, I'll try and explain why. Also, for some reason, you have to come all the way down here to the numbers to continue. It's just, Look, here's the reason why I don't like this game. It just feels kind of awful. Everything just feels off. Like the speed of it is just weird. Jumping feels just a bit too stunted. The way the game works, like its offensive moves works, is that you have to pick up objects on the ground to throw them at people. And it's really hard to pick up objects because it's hard to know exactly where you need to be standing. Titus doesn't have any other attacks of his own, by the way, so you're kind of just stuck with this crappy little throw maneuver. And you just have to wander around trying to get from one end of the stage to the other with all of these enemies just trying to stop you. And you have to inch forward really slowly because of enemies like that that can throw projectiles the entire length of the screen and leave you just hanging. And that was it. That was the entire first level. As far as I'm aware, he doesn't have any extra abilities. He doesn't have any sort of other defenses. It's simply just you, objects to throw, and some just really funky feeling minute-to-minute gameplay. It just feels so weird and off and unpleasant. There might be more to it, but I was only able to play 2 levels because, seriously, this game just feels like arse. Also, this game's got more knockback than Castlevania on cocaine. Also, apparently there's a skateboard up there, but since there's so little in the way of objects to pick up and throw as you're running around, I don't know how I'm supposed to get that skateboard. Very little in the way of health as well. One more hit and I'm dead, but it's fine. I managed to get to the end of the level anyway, so I'm getting a free heal. Looking for clues. Roadworks ahead. I'm gonna jump on there. It also doesn't help that it's actually kind of hard to tell, like, what you can stand on and what you can't stand on. Like, you'd think you'd be able to stand on these window ledges because they look almost identical to, like, the actual ledges here, right? But it's just not the case. Also, yeah, can't pick up this fucking paint can. I know I can pick... Thank you. You know you can pick up paint cans. Why will you not pick up paint cans? So that looks like something up there, but I can't jump high enough to get at it. Health. More health. Ow. Also, yeah, this is one of those up-to-jump games. I can't even imagine what it would have been like to actually play this on a on an Amiga with a joystick. It would have been awful. Oh yeah, you earn extra lives, by the way, by not taking damage and finding health pickups. If you find 10 health pickups without taking damage, you earn a bonus life. So the only way to earn bonus lives is to play the game well enough to prove that you probably don't need them. Do I don't know. Again, one of those design decisions I really wish they left back in the past. But there we go. How do I even get through here? I must have to go back up onto that construction stuff and find a way up. No, I guess I have to go up the top there. Can I push this along? Can I pick it up? I can. And I've just thrown it out of sight, so I think I fucked myself. Yeah, screw it. I hate this stupid game. It's awful. That's just... That game does not feel good to start, it does not feel good to play, and it does... Well, it only feels good to finish and never play it again. So, there we go. Back to the console. Okay, we've got Worms, the Director's Cut. Admittedly, this one is a little bit weird to get into. Like, you've got a lot that you need to worry about in order to actually get this to work, right? Like, admittedly, if you want to make your own teams, you still need to save via the save states. Annoys the crap out of me. And if you actually want to play with an AI team, you have to pick a team and then pick another team with the CPU icon on it. We'll just put 4 teams on a map and go for it. See how we do. Also, you have to press space in order to actually play it. Oh, and I almost forgot the most important thing, so we're gonna have to restart that. Because here's the thing that is really annoying about Worms the Director's Cut on this system. Most of the time, you can't tell your friends from your enemies. The game does have a way to help you with this. If you go into the options menu and go to the worm naming option, you can do the team number or the team initial. So if you just set it the team number, that'll be okay. But that won't save if you leave the game and come back without doing a save state. So... yeah. That one just feels wrong. I feel like they should have ROM hacked it. ROM hacked it to have that available at the start, because if we just hit start and then we actually go and hit spacebar again. Like, look at the color names on this text, right? Outside of the numbers, you would not be able to freaking tell whose worm is who. And I do not know why. I feel like this wasn't actually in the game to begin with. It can't have come out like this. This feels like it should be almost impossible to not notice, but... the hell do I know, right? Okay, we got a teammate there and a teammate there. Now, I believe... yep, that's the regular jump. That's fine. With that said, the majority of the game works well enough on the gamepad because if you hold the R button and press the B button, that lets you go to this, which lets you press A to pick a weapon, and then you've got that weapon equipped, at which point you can then do that. Eat me. I mean, to be fair, look, I'll press home and I'll show you these controls here. Like, look at this, right? Fire, fire, jump, and vertical jump. That's okay. But then you hold this, and you've got your cursor stuff, center on your worm, weapon panel, select, and your next worm. So it's a little tough. But it does work, right? It's okay. Not what I would have done, mate, but you do you. Also, annoyingly, you got to scroll all the way up to the top to see the bars there. But I mean, look, if you've been playing Worms, if you know Worms at all, this is just the Worms that started it all, but with none of the tricks. It's got like 40 weapons in it. I'll wait until it comes back around to my turn to demonstrate. So if I hold the R button, B, 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 B. So yeah, it's got like 40 weapons in it because it's the director's cut, which added a bunch of these. So it's got a lot to work off of. This is like absolutely the, Gotcha. Oh no. I don't know how many of them were my worms. It's alright though. Dougal's dead anyway. And still, you got all those options. You got tournaments, you got cups, you got just this one friendly match, you know? You've got all the options you need for this to actually work. And the AI is sometimes savant and sometimes stupid. But it's good enough to provide a fair enough challenge. Outside of that, like, one little problem where it's like, you know, you can't actually tell, like, what your teammates' names are supposed to be. It plays like Worms. And I don't think there's ever been an official re-release of the director's cut. So it's good to have. And of course, it's Worms. And it inherited its... oh. It inherited its legacy from Scorched Tanks. Not Scorched Tanks, Scorched Earth. Which is one of the most influential games ever made. Damn, I don't have any baseball bats. I don't have any of the fun weapons, which is a shame. Including a priceless Ming vase. Man, they have a lot going on here. Anyway, punch. Not what I was hoping for, but we'll work with it. Really? You're going to back up? Oh, wait, you might be Team 2. Yeah, I think you're Team 2. That's the reason why you wouldn't want to go for the other one. Alright, is it war? No, it's death. Yeah, one good shot on Florence and he'll hit both those Oh, just one. That's fine, though. That did him in good. Apparently airstrikes are now available. Might as well show off an airstrike if I have a good target. Alright, let's go for an airstrike. Which one of these is an airstrike? Here it is. And we move the cursor. Let's see, we don't want to hit them. That's probably not a worthwhile target. They're just going to kill each other. I'm fine with leaving them alone, so... You know what? We'll hit about here and see how we do. 2 for 1! Give me that replay. Well, I can't say I didn't deserve it. Yeah, that strike to my health bar, oh god. The wind is really high in this fight. Alright, what are you going to try and do? I was about to say, you probably didn't want to try and homing missile. Oh god, homing missile. I don't think I stand much of a chance of surviving this. But we're going to give it a try anyway. I don't know how you would do the low bounce. Not like that! Oh well, I still hit him with the mine. I'll take that. Alright, Scooby, what are you going to do? Homing missile. Who are you going to hit? Fair enough. Magic's team is no more. Oh, poor Muttley. Oh well. Alright. They're both on opposite sides of the map. I don't remember if sudden death is in this game. If it is, I just didn't look. Let's see who hits who first. That would have been great if that actually hit him. Like, no word of a lie. Oh, they didn't even hit him with the airstrike. Oh, that's unfortunate. I see what's going on here. He's trying to blow a hole through so he can actually hit him. Alright, come on, Death. What do you got? You have a homing missile. Well, this is over. It's not over. This duel of titans. And he gets a weapon. I cannot help but what... Oh. Okay. I was hoping to see what was in that crate, but I guess the AI had better ideas. And with that, congratulations to the winning team, Mystery! And that was Worms the Director's Cut. Like, just... Like, how is it not? How is it not a classic? Like, honestly. I mean, technically it is a classic, but how is it not good on this chart? Anyway. We have one more game that was included on the console itself to show you. So this is Zool. I am genuinely surprised this actually made it onto the thing. I mean, to be fair, it was made by Gremlin Graphics, but I feel like Gremlin could have put something else on this machine as well. Prepare yourself. Actually, hang on, I'm sorry. I have a save state for this. I don't remember how far in I was, but it'll be about the same anyway, if I'm being perfectly honest with you. So, this is an incredibly candy-charged platformer. The idea is that you need to get a certain amount of treasures. You can see the amount that you've got up in the top left corner of the screen there. And to do that, you just run, shoot, jump, and try and collect as many of the collectibles as possible. It is a very fast game. Quite slippery, in fact, but it actually works out to its advantage because everything in this game is a bit faster than you. Also, everything respawns, so that kind of sucks, but it actually handles okay. like, I don't have much in the way of I don't have much in the way of problems with it. It's okay. It plays alright. It gives you, like, 4 health, which is, like, super rare in these sorts of platformers. It gives you plenty of opportunities to go back and collect more candy. Like, even if you die, you don't lose, like, even if you end up at a checkpoint, you don't lose all the candy you collected, so you're still, like, if you die at 50%, you stay at 50%, even if it throws you back, like, a quarter of the level. So, it means that the game is actually kind of fair? Like, actually pretty fair, all things considered. And it's fast enough and simple enough that I find myself enjoying it more than I probably should. Especially since it was, like, one big, advertisement for Chupa Chups. Hey, it's, like, do I even have to prove my point? You do have a fair few, like, leaps of faith, and these enemies, like, will swarm you relentlessly, and they do respawn. You do have a time limit, so that does prevent you from just staying in the same area forever. You do have to move. But with that said, like, there genuinely isn't that much to dislike here. It's not amazing. Like, Jesus, I can see someone giving themselves a stroke off of this game. Just of how the colors work and all that, but honestly, I'm having an alright time with it. Bit further back than I expected, that's unfortunate. But if I just do, like, the leap of faith, I'll get there. Nope, had a little bit more to... Ow! Ow! Oh, this bloody boss is gonna be a bitch, ain't it? Please enter your name. I don't even know what name I entered. That was just what was in there by default. But hang on, I'll show you, like, a second level. So yeah, this is the second level. The game's got multiple. I could probably get through that boss if I tried and actually made proper use of the save states. But yeah, this is more what I've seen. Trying to do these sorts of platforming challenges when the enemies are constantly respawning is a bit of a pain, especially when you fall right into these death pits of nonsense that just constantly steal your health and have these spike bastards on the side. It's basically a, if you fall in, you die. No ifs, ands, buts, or whatevers. Just trying to actually get the health, damn it. Leap of faith, down the slide, and straight into the pit. Can't say I don't deserve it, can ya? As far as I can tell, there's very little else to worry about. There's not much in the way of secret areas. There's not much in the way of, like, extra player abilities. I mean, you saw, like, the double image candy that you can get on the last level that I played. But, like, outside of that, there's not really much to say about it. It just wears itself on its face. There's very little that I, like, actively say about Zool that it just doesn't say itself. It's a bit fast, it's a bit slippery, but it's alright. It actually plays okay, it's nice and colourful. It's not difficult to the point of being absolutely demented. The enemies, while they do respawn, unnecessarily an unfair challenge. I don't know why they expect you to hit these. Like, those are the checkpoints. As to be proven. Oh, I just got it in the end. Hang on, we'll save a save state here. Which I have to remember to actually, like, reopen properly. Just make that leap of faith. Try to get that health back before I have to actually fight the boss. Which is right after this pit. So now we actually do a save state here. Load the save. And now we try and fight this properly. You do also have a melee attack, but there's not much enemy in the way of an enemy in this game that you actually want to be close to. Like, not even close, really. God, I wish I could shoot those out of the air. Also, you can't hit this thing from the back. You have to hit it from the front. Huh. Okay. Well, I didn't actually get enough candy in order to, leave the level, so... Oh well, let's just focus on that for a bit, shall we? We should be able to backtrack throughout most of the level. Problem is I don't have any lives, so if I die, that's it, it's done. Not entirely sure where they expect to get all the candy from. Because there aren't that many places to get it in this level. Yeah, you got that candy up there, but I don't think there's a way you can actually jump to that. Yeah, it's just you're just gonna fall way too short. Yeah, that was a little bit Zool. It is well and truly in the meh tier. Okay, so now that we've actually finished playing Zool, we have played through the 25 games that they have included by default on the A500 Mini, and we can go back to the desktop and actually have a look at our tier maker list. And honestly, I think this is a pretty good spread. Like, I'm pretty impressed by the fact that they managed to not only fit in so many good games and decent games, like, honestly, meh should be more around the area of decent to average, but a lot of these games here are actually well worth playing, especially Alien Breed, Chaos Engine, Speedball, and Worms, of course. They're all classics. And they've got some weird ones that are out of the way, like Lost Patrol, Dragon's Breath, yeah, all of them. But, admittedly, if this was all you were paying for, this would not be worth it in the slightest. However, that's not all you're paying for. The Amiga 500 has the incredibly odd ability to load ROMs off a flash drive baked into the base unit itself. I don't understand this. This is insane. I don't know. Look, God, I feel like someone could sue over this, but I don't know who would. It'd be like Nintendo coming out and saying, hey, here's a NES that you can load ROMs onto right off the bat. It doesn't make any bloody sense. Now, there are some things to worry about this, to say about this, for example. It's a little bit tougher than just finding ROMs on the internet, although in some cases it's absolutely not. Some won't be supported for specific reasons. Some will require you to have things like a keyboard available in order to actually play them properly, but you need to format a drive into FAT32, and get the, you need to get the, let's find the actual page on it, shall we? So, if we load that up, I believe we go to support, it'll give you this package here. You download the package, extract it to a flash drive, and stick it in the back of the Mini. And this will come up. The USB media access icon. And if you go in, it will let you load up what they call LHAs. And this LHA here, Citadel, is actually a game they have given out for free as a sort of, like, almost encouragement to actually try this out for yourself. And apparently they plan on actually adding more as time goes by. So let's load it up. We'll just skip everything and head straight on in to the game itself. Arrakis software. What's Arrakis from? Isn't that from Dune? But anyway, we'll just hit start game. And it just works. And here's the thing about, well, not this game in particular. We'll talk about the other games later. And by later, I mean very soon. But this even has its own, like, because this was given out by the guys who made this, they've even given it its own default control scheme. So it feels a little bit weird, especially when you were playing Alien Breed, and now you're turning with the shoulder buttons and strafing with the D-pad. But this is actually surprisingly satisfying as a first-person shooter. It's very Wolfenstein 3D, but I kind of like the whole recoil they've got going on with the pistol every time you fire it here. Unfortunately, I am now completely out of ammo. This is a huge problem. It's also worth noting that these levels are very maze-like. They are huge, they turn in on themselves, and they are very tough to navigate. You do have a compass there, but as far as I can tell, you don't have a map. You might actually have a map. Do you have a map? I don't think you do. That's unfortunate. They do have training levels and stuff available as well, but it's just another free game, and it's actually a pretty decent one. I admit it feels kind of strange to play, especially since you're being chased around by burly dudes in Speedos firing guns at you, but... oh crap, I'm out of ammo again. Unfortunately, you do not have a melee attack in this game in any way, shape, or form, so I get to go find more ammo. This is only the hard version of the game. I was playing on easy, where you were more free to just, like, waste ammo as much as you wanted, because you just got so much of it on every pickup. But still, we've wasted, like, what, 3.5 hours on this video already. We need to stop here. And they even work with the, whatchamacallits, save states. But of course, it doesn't just apply to, anything, to just anything they give you. You can load in your own WHDs and just play them. They just work. Like, genuinely, a lot of the games you'll play will just work. Like, just for example, let's pick up what's arguably the most well-known game from the Amiga. It just works. It genuinely just works. Now, you do have to go and find the files themselves. They call them LHAs, and they load in via something called WHD load, which is basically they took all of the floppy disks and put them into one file so that they could be extracted onto Amiga hard drives back in the day for faster loading and whatnot. But all of those, if you can find them, and there are multiple sites that give them out, you can just download them, stick them on a flash drive that's on FAT32, and the majority of them will just load up. Like, And they even have, like, a bunch of neat little things going on. Like, for example, if we come back in here and hit game settings, if you start having, like, emulation problems, you can change the blitter mode, the memory, and these two settings here to see if they'll work. And from 90% of the circumstances I've seen online, they will. Is the height or the width not right? There you go. Do you want to put it in TSC? It's right there. But a lot of this is already preset, because this is actually running on an emulator that's had a lot of work done on it for a while. So they have this XML that defines all this stuff for you. So it'll know to use the joystick and the mouse in their respective ports if it needs to for that particular game. And that's usually enough to get you off and going. And even then, you can come in here and change the controls for every game that you load via this method. And it's so cool. Like, I can map all sorts of different buttons on here. I can make a different keyboard keys. So if there's a game that plays entirely on keyboard that I want to play on keypad, I can do that. Same with the CD32 pad. Although this thing doesn't actually technically support the CD32 yet. It only supports the 600 and the 1200 and the 500. Don't know why they won't support the CD32 in the future though. And the mouse, if you just want to do it with the mouse and the show virtual keyboard button. So you can remap the controls whatever way you like, and even have a secondary set for the more complicated stuff, which is great, and it will save that. And of course, it even supports save states as well, and it'll keep track of all of those save states too. So, it just works. Like, back when this first came out, it was only on version 1.0.0. Some of the newer WHDs I had wouldn't work, but then they updated it with a more updated XML, and now pretty much everything is working, like right off the bat. Like, do I want to load up the AGA version of Slam Tilt? And there we go. Just straight up works. Again, I'd probably have to edit the controls for it or what have you. It just works. Do I want to load up, one of my favorite Amiga games? Actually, probably my favorite Amiga game. Although, admittedly, Speedball is giving it a bit of a run for its money. Do I want to load up International Karate Plus? They even have those little options if you're fast enough to get to them with the mouse, which is a really nice little touch for these WHD load packages. Yep, there's IK Plus, and I can just hop straight into it. And it works! It genuinely just works. Now, you might think to yourself, what's the point? Right? What's the point? Why would you bother doing this when you could just emulate? There are so many things. There are so many reasons, right? There, when you've got, sorry, let me try this from the beginning. Amiga emulation is kind of really hard. There are so many options you have to worry about. There are so many little worrisome things you have to do. And then you have to worry about, like, configuring controls and shit, right? So there's just so much that you have to do, like, right off the bat when you first start up an Amiga emulator. So many files, so many, like, little tweaks that you have to do for each game. There are, like, examples of some people getting it right, having it all done in, like, these collectible things that you can use. But this just does it all for you. Just get the WHDs and just go. Like, what's another game that I could use as an example? Sensible Soccer. Let's try loading up a copy of Sensible Soccer. We'll do, I just want base Sensible World of Soccer. That'll do. We can just try loading up Sensible World of Soccer. So, there is a real benefit to this. Having a dedicated gamepad and a mouse, so you only need to provide your own keyboard and USB, although I wish there was another port on the back of it, just because it would mean that you could fit all of them in simultaneously. But the ability to just have it like this, ready to go, and capable of playing pretty much any... Being capable of playing pretty much any game on the Amiga that I can think of, just through a simple chuck it on the flash drive and go situation, is incredibly valuable. And it's an incredibly impressive effort. Crap. So yeah, it just works. There's only one downside I have to the way that this works, right? Oh, and another thing. You think... they have said, basically, that they only wanted you to be able to do the games, right? They said they weren't going to be able to provide Workbench or anything like that, which was the original desktop environment that was on the Amiga. Well, let me tell you this. If you know where to look... People have proved them wrong already. Like, just ain't that fun. Just being able to wander around the old, Amiga desktop OS. That just works too. Well, admittedly, it takes a little bit more effort to get that working because they fiddled with the way some of the files on the drive work, but everything else still works as expected. And there are so many games that you could pull up and just have a go on, because there are a lot of good games on the Amiga. Like, there are so many good ones that you can think of, and they will most likely just load straight up and work on this. It's genuinely an impressive effort. And I'm honestly surprised that they were actually willing to do this. But it's all here. It all works. And if you've never played through the Amiga's library before, but you've been too intimidated by how much work it takes to actually emulate the bloody thing, well, this is a pretty good thing to change your mind on that one. Especially since they will probably be giving out more... Well, it's not like they need to give out more free games, but at least they'll make it easier. And there are so many good games on here that I will need to try and find time to go through, and probably never will. So that's it. That's everything that the Amiga 500 Mini, or A500 Mini, has got. It is a damn impressive machine. Now, the actual game library on it, if you were relying on just these 25 games, I would say it's not worth it. It's got some good ones on there, don't get me wrong, but the 25 that they include are not the absolute tip-top of the computer itself, and most people will agree on that. However, it does have a pretty decent selection. However, the ability to just plug in a flash drive of games and just load it straight up without having to actually modify the thing itself is incredibly valuable. And I'm very impressed by it. Actually, one last thing that I actually forgot to mention. There is a bit of a disappointment going on with this for me personally. Now, when you load up a WHD load file, it's fine, right? You can just jump in and see if you can figure things out. However, in certain situations, there are things in the WHD load file which would be great to have exposed to the end user. Allow me to demonstrate. It's here somewhere. Hang on. I actually need to find it on the desktop before I go and throw it out. Okay. So I'm going to swap back to the desktop. this is my folder of LHAs that I was previously working with, although I just eventually decided to give up and replace it with some more interesting stuff. However, if I open up the Secret of Monkey Island LHA that I loaded in the console, maximize this, we have a few files here. Manual, README, and Solution. What do those files have in them? Well, we have the WHD load README, which is fine. We don't really need to expose that. However, the manual, The Secret of Monkey Island, Getting Started, Keyboard Control, Save Load Instructions, Function and Command Keys, Read This First, About the Secret of Monkey Island, Playing the Game, Things to Try, Talking to Characters, Our Design Philosophy, and in this particular case, it even has this. The Complete Answers for Monkey Island, done by Shogun and Pirates. I would love to be able to open these files up on the A500 Mini itself. Just to be able to look at them. Be like, okay, these are the controllers I'm going to need. Maybe I'll rebind them to the gamepad. Or maybe I need to get out the keyboard and mouse for this one. Oh, I'm having a little bit of trouble here. Let's have a look at the solution. I'd love to be able to do that. But I guess I just have to rely on opening them up on a separate thing and hoping for the best, right? Or maybe I'll just have to send this video into them, make them watch all of these hours in order to get to that one last criticism. But look, this game library, it's okay. But this functionality, turning something that's like really difficult, even by emulation, not so much experts, but like people who've been working with emulators for a while, still have trouble with Amiga from time to time. Having this to have everything just work is incredibly valuable. I wouldn't say that makes it worth the 200 AUD I spent on this, but it comes close. Maybe if I spend a few more hours in it, or a few more tens of hours in it, playing all the Amiga games that I never played because this computer got cancelled the year I was born. But nevertheless, this is good stuff. And if you're interested, it's hard not to recommend it, especially if you know how to get all of these files. whdownload.com. Then, and you feel like just digging into this old computer, then please give it a go. It's worth your time. With that said, this has been Blue Maxima, and I'll see you all next time.